Looks like we've got everything handled. I'm gonna give it back to Mobius with Ratchet and Clank ripped apart.
Hello, take 2, maybe, hopefully.
Ele vai recomeçar agora,
we'll just start again from the start, and hopefully it'll go smoothly, you know?
Vamos ver se tá tudo certo dessa vez.
And we'll get back to the explanations. 3, 2, 1, go.
Acho que tá tranquilo agora.
O
runner, a Lord Nub, tava com queda de FPS, aí teve que resetar a run, mas assim, resetou tipo nem 1 minuto de run, ele só tinha feito esse comecinho aí, tipo essa parte agora. Tava tipo muito queda de FPS, tava tipo, sei lá, 3 FPS. PS5 parece. Não, deve ter sido a internet mesmo.
Do this photo mode abuse and then open create menu at the same time, and it allows us to play the game while the game shouldn't be played, and it causes some interesting things to happen. But we also use it to reset Ratchet's grounded position and do infinite jumps and despawn some bosses later on and all this other cool stuff.
Ô, Jair, apareceu aqui na minha tela o que você fez aí agora no chat, e eu juro que eu achei que isso tinha vazado aí, mas beleza. Diminuir a bitrate do runner.
So it is coming up here in a second.
Yep, I've just started it now. Whoop.
And you can see the float on the other side.
So I messed up very slightly the
Aí ele tá usando...
I guess not really.
Cara, ele não usou o photo mode ali, ele usou o negócio de tirar a foto do PS5 mesmo, não o photo mode do jogo.
If you do that like very slightly too far right, you sort of get like a quasi.
Mas bom, assim como o outro Ratchet Clank, deu pra perceber que esse Ratchet Clank tem skips out of bounds.
He jumped over to sort of a little platform and he shot at the goon ship that was driving in, and that will skip sort of a little fight where one enemy will jump down and he has to kill that enemy. So he kind of bypassed that by shooting the ship earlier.
O que o Ratchet é, cara? Ele é uma raposa, cachorro? Ou uma raça alienígena que a gente não conhece?
Yes, that will be a theme. A lot of we really do not like the rails sections at all. So you'll see later on what we end up doing with those.
Yeah, the parade section here has just an enemy section here at the bottom where we defeat the dropship that we.
A opção C parece interessante, uma raça alienígena que a gente não conhece.
Up at the very top, so I can kill the enemies down at the bottom. This causes the dropship to come towards its secondary position much quicker.
Lombac.
And then it'll come.
Beleza, eu vou confiar, João. Não conheço.
I can defeat all the enemies right away.
You still got the fast cycle, so you're good.
Yeah.
Yes, then pretty much this dropship you saw. Mobius had shot the Warmonger at it twice. That's mainly, so normally during this fight, the ship will sit there and then it will spawn like a bunch of enemies, and you have to wait for the enemies to come out, and then after you kill the enemies, then the ship will start the fight. But we found that if you shot the ship earlier,
tipo de ser antropomórfico.
So then you can just kind of destroy it right away.
É bicho. Definitivamente é dos bichos já feitos na história dos jogos. Tomara que essa... A gente tem uma seção aí de skating, que eu sempre amo skating nos jogos. E o jogo do Sonic, cara, que era só skating, assim, tipo... Era de PS2, não sei se alguém lembra. Era muito legal. Era meio que de corrida, assim. Enfim.
You can keep jumping on rails to maintain your highest possible speed, but otherwise it's just on rails.
Sonic Riders. Eu jogava bastante isso.
Yeah, that's
agora vamos ver, ele vai fazer o esqueminha do photo mode que eu falei. Vamos prestar atenção aqui pra ver. Vamos ver. Photo mode. Ele consegue um pulo extra ali por causa do photo mode, aí ele consegue abrir o mapa. Aí ele entrou out of bounds na ponte e aí ele tem um trigger da cutscene. Aí a cutscene te dá um warp pra onde você deveria estar. É tipo o start do Ratchet Clank 1.
and those will be used in a couple other
O
places.
Photo Mode deixa você pegar mais um boost. Caraca, o Photo Mode faz maravilhas nos jogos, né? Pra quem viu a run de Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, que rolou na AGDQ também, meu Deus. Photo Mode fazia você voar pelo mapa inteiro. Que tipo de jogo é esse? Achei tão bonitinho. O estilo do jogo é ação e aventura, né? Action Adventure, e o nome do jogo é Ratchet Clank, é Rift Apart do PS5.
Yeah, they can be very good for sort of recovery.
Esse Sonic do PS2 era... Nossa, eu amava esse
So,
Sonic
you know,
aqui.
if you're kind of trying to do a skip or something and you fall too low and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna die, you can kind of just use them as like a backup to get back up to where you wanted to be at. So it's very helpful in some instances.
Once we get charge boots, we can actually double jump out of it as well. So we actually get a little more
Eu gostei dos
distance
portais do jogo.
Yeah.
Pô, o nome do jogo é Rift
We
Apart, né?
use,
Mas,
we
enfim.
use infant shops in like 2 or 3 places, just because like the hover boots are really good for horizontal momentum, but not vertical momentum.
Olha lá. Ele puxando as
I think it's also
dimensões
good
e
to note
passando.
about the Rhino, before I guess we get too far. If you have
Lembrando que a
played
categoria é
Steam,
New
you
Game
get
Plus,
fully
tá?
upgraded
Então
the
ele já
Rhino.
tá com todas as armas e
Notice
todos os
that it
upgrades
looks a
e
little
tudo
bit
upado
different.
e
Normally when you
tudo mais.
fire it, kind of it goes into like a V, and then there's like 4 different types of
Mas a
objects on
run,
each
a
side that
run
drop
percent
down.
não é
And
tão
you've
mais,
probably been noticing
tão mais
that
diferente o
with the
tempo
Rhino that
assim.
Mobius has, it's only shooting
Ah,
down
sim, cara, e é
3
só a
lasers
PS5.
and 3 different objects. And the reason for that is mainly because we found it to be way more consistent.
Acabou com você.
to
Você não é
actually
uma
have
das
less
únicas 10
upgrades,
pessoas
because
do mundo que tem
for
um
some reason
PS5.
the objects
Infelizmente.
seem to overlap with the smaller
Eu vendo meu
portals if you have
PS5
it
em
fully
apenas
upgraded, so a lot of
9
the
mil
enemies
reais,
weren't actually
usado
dying
apenas
when they
algumas...
were intended
Brincadeira.
to die. So we found a way to have
Esse jogo dá uma
less
bugada na mente, dá.
upgrades, and the
Espero que
enemies
continue com
would
a
die,
Rift nos
making
próximos
it
jogos
a
da
lot
franquia.
better to do
Inclusive
it
o
like
lance do
that
pessoal
instead.
fazer
Yeah.
ela um
The
casal com
specific
Ratchet
things
até
about
bacana.
Plunder
Ah,
Beam
ela é a
has, like,
cinza,
a
né?
really strict upgrade pattern. The rest are just fully upgraded
Esse
weapons,
jogo é
so
exclusivo
you can
das...
sort of get them.
Na real, o
During the
Filosofo,
set piece section, there's not much to
Demon
talk
Souls,
about,
por
like,
exemplo, que é de
just a
PS5, é
demonstration
exclusivo também de
of
PS5.
what the engine can
O
do.
load é muito rápido.
there's a
Todo
donation
jogo
to
que tá
very
saindo
happy
direto
with
pra
that.
nova geração, o load é absurdo
we
de
have
rápido.
a
Tipo,
lot of very good ones here. If we
eu
got
nunca vi
time
um
for
SSD
2
melhor do que o
more
SSD do
quick
PS5. Tipo, não tô
$7 here
brincando,
from
cara,
Rubber
porque
Ducky.
é
Says,
muito
gotta ratchet
rápido.
up
É
the
ridículo de
donations for the
rápido.
Final
Tipo,
Fantasy VII bonus game. I love the extra ER. Rubber
tem outros
Ducky,
jogos de
thank
Ratchet
you.
Clank em
Great,
outros consoles.
$70.
Tem sim, e
And
tem no
$5
PS3
here
sim,
from
Hot.
Hammerhead, who
Inclusive
says,
tem port
"Who loves
dos
orange
jogos de
soda?
PS2
We
pra
all love
PS3.
orange soda. If we meet the Final Fantasy VII
E dependendo do PS3
remake
que você tem,
integrate
alguns
incentive, we
PS3
get to
têm
see another
retrocompatibilidade
amazing
com o
Final Fantasy
PS2,
run
né, mídia
and
física.
more orange soda.
Não é todos
Let's
os
go,
PS3,
chat.
mas tem. E sim, tem PS4 também. O último jogo antes desse Rift Apart é o Ratchet Clank, que se chama só Ratchet Clank.
So we are on to
Pela
Nefarious
PS4.
City now.
Alguém me segura pra não usar Serious Sense de novo.
How Dr. Nefarious has broken the Dimensionator and caused us to travel to a
Imagina
dimension,
Serious Sam
and
rodando
now
no SSD do
we don't know where
PS5.
Clank is.
Não carrega, nem
And right off
o
the bat,
SSD
we're
do
gonna have a little
PS5
fence
tanca
strip
aquele
here
negócio.
where Mobius is gonna jump onto this wall and then hyperstrike right over right over that fence, and that, believe it or not, only saves like 1 or 2 seconds, but it looks so cool that we had to make sure to include it.
And then
It's one of the few instances of wall bounces. Well, I might want to reposition for this. Yeah, it's a few instances of wall bounces, like giving us a little extra height to make a trick possible.
Vocês perceberam que começou a
what Mobius is
cutscene ali e
doing
ele tava
right
se
here
mexendo?
now is, we have another shortcut on our D-pad that lets us
Então, ele
basically,
começa a atacar
range
só pra ir um
combo
pouquinho mais pra
without,
frente.
while we're not
E ele
able to
troca o
move in some
FPS da run
unskippable
aqui
cutscenes.
também.
And he actually wrench comboed
Pra
forward
variável.
into the next checkpoint, and then we can change visual settings to actually
Eu não entendi
basically
muito bem, mas
act as a
provavelmente
restart
pra fazer
checkpoint
algum
when we're not
skip.
able to.
Tem bastante jogo que
Yeah.
tem skip
And
que
that'll be
é
used a couple
baseado em
more
FPS.
times in the run as well, and
Yeah.
we'll make
Esse
sure
jogo tá parecendo
mention
mais um
those
filme do
show
que
up.
speedrun.
Yeah, a lot of the name of the game is like using.
Tem umas cinemáticas muito bonitas no jogo.
Locations to spawn forward. I didn't do the cutscene walk there.
Novamente ele usando o uso do Photo Mode ali. Não, ele ainda vai usar. Meu Deus, mano, eu tô muito no futuro.
So there'll be another infinite jump here.
Aí agora. Ele vai
Just
pular,
fixes this
Photo
gap
Mode.
here.
Aí ele consegue dar mais um pulo. Platinei o Rift Apart e é um baita jogo, tá no meu top 3 da franquia.
Basically,
Então, eu vi o pessoal falando muito bem.
we'll see
Eu
it
vou
later on in the
comprar
run,
ainda
but
em
we
algum
have
momento.
another shortcut for skipping cutscenes. That's why you don't see him press start. and
Porque
skip
todo jogo
cutscenes
que lança é um
automatically or
rim
manually.
e
So
a
we have a
hipoteca
button
da sua
for it,
casa.
basically. And whenever, for like, I think 3 or 4 cutscenes in this game, whenever the Ratchet or Rivet have forward momentum going into the cutscene, we can hold forward and R1 and spam X.
Ele conseguiu o
press that
dash
button,
agora,
and
né?
it will
No
basically
jogo,
shoot
então
us with like a
vocês
ton
vão
of
ver ele
speed
dando
off
muitos
different
dashes
directions.
agora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have the Phantom Dash here, which the Phantom just gave us. So the Phantom Dash is like a bridge between 2 main movement methods. The hover boost,
Caraca,
which we get later
Tecos.
in the normal sprint. The dash
O verdadeiro
allows us to
matemático.
just travel completely flat across the air, and it's just a little bit quicker than sprint jumping. But more importantly,
Não curte muito o jogo
dash
de
jumping and
ação e
dashing,
aventura,
that gives us
Quiet?
way more airtime and like
Será que no meio do ano vai ter o
negates the use of
speedrun
a lot of
do
potential
Horizon
infinite jumps
2
because we are just able
e
to
Elden
cover such
Ring?
a great horizontal distance.
Com certeza, Gabriel. Na próxima AGDQ eu tenho
Jump at the end of
certeza
the
que vai
first
ter Elden
dash
Ring
cancels
e Horizon
out like a
2.
small halting animation.
Duvido que eles não vão,
Yeah, I was just about to
não
mention
vão
that normally
pegar
when you
alguém pra jogar.
dash, Ratchet or Rivet have like a stop animation, and then you
E
have
os
to
dois
wait
já
a while
lançam em
before
fevereiro
to
agora,
finish
dá
again.
bastante
So this
tempo até
kind of voids all
a
of
Summer
that. We
AGDQ,
can just kind
até
of
o pessoal
spam
começar a
the
correr
dash
mais
and
e
go
tudo
through
mais.
every level pretty quickly until we get the hover
Honestly,
boots.
honestly, I completely forgot that ever existed because the very first thing I did with the dash is try to jump out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was found very quickly.
Sim, o bolso chora em
So
fevereiro,
coming up
mano.
here,
Eu já comprei o Horizon.
There's going to be this
E o
fight
Elden Ring
in
eu só tô
a
esperando
small
pra ver se eu
section,
vou
and
comprar no
so
PC
Mobius is
ou
going
no
to be
PS5.
jumping into a
Então, em
checkpoint that
fevereiro,
normally there's
o
an
negócio
unskippable
vai ser
cutscene
louco. Minha
that's there,
conta
but
vai...
if you pause the game right
vai
as you
chorar.
hit that checkpoint and you restart checkpoint, you'll actually skip the cutscene, which is really cool.
Yeah, there's a few instances.
Vai ser legal. Nossa, cara, eu tô muito animado pra ver o começo de speedrun desses jogos. Todo jogo é muito legal, o começo da speedrun, assim. Onde a gente vai descobrindo os glitches, skips, stretches e montando, e a comunidade... A comunidade é muito legal, em geral, assim, né? A gente se juntando pra descobrir as coisas. É muito big brain. Bom, ele tá passando dessa sessão e ele já sabe onde vai spawnar as coisas que ele tem que atacar, e ele só vai tirando com a arminha de portal dele, que spawna uns meteoros que caem do céu.
Yeah, so
Novamente,
pretty much this game is like
ele
very
vai
heavily,
usando o
like,
pulinho
movement
com
based,
dash,
so anyone that loves
ataque
movement-based speedruns,
e
this is
mapa,
like a
né,
really cool
pra
speedrun.
conseguir
There isn't a
alcançar.
lot
Mas
of,
acho que ele errou ali, né? Ele
skips
caiu
per
sem
se.
querer. Ele tem que
That's
alcançar
mainly
aquele
because of,
railing
how the
ali em
game
cima pra fazer um
is
skate.
actually checking to see what you've done. So
Aí
this
alcançou,
game more
beleza.
has, like, a checklist of the different things you have to do.
E é mais
before
fácil,
it
é mais
allows you
rápido
to
você
complete the
pular
level.
nesse skate
And
do
so
que
we
ficar
have to make
parado.
sure that in each level we're hitting all of the required, all of the required
Esse jogo tem
checklist
quase tudo
items before it
perfeito,
lets us
infelizmente no
complete it.
quesito
So
humor
that's
ele é tão
why
fraco quanto
when
o
you
do
see later on
PS4.
some
Sinto falta
levels, you
daquele
might
Ratchet
think, well, why
Clank,
can't they just skip right to the end? And that's
moraço
the
do
reason. It's
PS2
because
e
the game is
PS3.
checking to make sure we've done other things.
Essa arma traz
Some of those
objetos e
things
personagens.
are
Oh, legal!
dialogue-based as well, and we can use we can basically mute their dialogue with a couple different inputs.
I was meant to do one up at the top, the rooftop there, but that one only saves a few seconds, and I just slipped my mind.
Yeah, so right
But
there we just
don't
kind
worry.
of destroyed that boss. We kind of killed him in like 4 seconds, and now he's gone already.
A Insomnia que deve
Yeah, it's
fazer.
good to
Ah,
mention that
espera,
you
né?
saw how Mobius killed
Dev
that
que.
boss. He was
Porque tem
switching
dev que é o
between
contrário, né? Tem
Cold
dev que
Front
assiste a
and
run
Warmonger.
Games Don't
So,
Kick
in some
e dá
instances,
patch
you
no.
can use certain weapons and kind
No
of
glitch.
quickly switch back and forth with them, and they deal like a ton of damage. And so the Warmonger and the Cold Snap are like a really good combo to just kind of melt bosses.
Yeah.
And the other
Okay.
There's
combo,
debuff weapons. Yeah, sorry. There's 2 debuff weapons that we use in this run, and that's the Cold Front, which does like a 3.5 times damage multiplier, and the Topiary Sprinkler, which also does like a 3 times multi. It's like very barely less than the Cold Front. So yeah, we'll be using that, the Warmonger and the Rhino, all those together to
Rivet aí, ó.
get the most damage in our combat sequences. Now we're on to Sargasso and Rivet.
Yeah, so this is pretty much where we first play as Rivet. She pretty much controls the exact same as Ratchet, and she also has all the weapons Ratchet has as well. So thankfully there isn't really anything like extra that we have to do playing as Rivet, because we already have all of the gadgets.
Quem
and
lembra da
weapons
paródia
that
da
carry it
Britney
through.
Spears? Não lembro.
Yeah. Here I'm in the first pocket dimension.
Yeah, so Mobius will be doing a skip here where he's pretty much going to activate dialogue from this bot that's sitting here, and then he's going to fall into the acid, and he is going to spawn back at the portal, and it'll essentially skip the entire section because we sort of found out that dialogue is actually a trigger to complete that section. So we just had to find a way back up to the top pretty much.
Yeah, the game saves your grounded state if you're standing on it for longer than a second, I think, or a second or so. So if we jump,
just about.
Yeah, if we jump as soon as we hit the ground, we actually the game won't register or update our position. So we can do stuff like that, and then.
Alguns dos skips que ele faz no jogo, pelo que ele falou, ele.
Also, shout out to Mobius for doing that jump on the speed.
Alguns desses pulos e dashes que ele dá. O jogo fica meio confuso e não guarda a posição dele no chão. Então, depois que ele faz a parte, ele consegue meio que dar tipo um reload e voltar de antes dele dar o dash ou o pulo.
I'm not the judge. I'm not the judge.
I do. I've started trying it now.
Yes.
Yeah, so as you've seen these fights Mobius is doing, it's pretty standard. You just kind of shoot the Rhino a ton. Sometimes you'll shoot the Cold Snap. You can also throw the Topiary Sprinkler here as well. And we're pretty much just kind of going through these waves as fast as possible by spamming the Rhino.
A fun thing to note is if you have, say, hold the fire on, and you have the cold front and the warmonger, if you just hold the trigger down and just spam triangle, it will actually shoot both as fast as possible.
Nossa, caiu uma chave do Kingdom Hearts ali do portal? Foi isso que eu vi?
So we alternate between the warmonger and Rhino, just depending on, like, so you see here I'm using the Rhino because it's long range, and I'm able to defeat a lot of enemies that spawn in the back that you can't see at the moment. The Rhino has a very, very big, like, radius that sort of comes out of it. That will defeat enemies, like it pretty much one-shots a lot of the basic enemies earlier on in the game. It switched to the Combustor. Not ready to talk about that yet.
Yeah, the Combustor's coming later. If you've ever played this game, you would know that the Combustor is not a usable weapon, but we will explain later on how Mobius has the Combustor.
Ele vai usar a motinha agora pra meio que pular numas pedras aí. Nem é uma War of Bounds exatamente. Mas ele vai usar o boost dessas pedrinhas pra já cair em cima da nave. E aí simplesmente skipa essa primeira fase e vai direto pra luta.
But the Speedle is really generous in this game. If there's like an incline that's like 45 degrees or less, it will just go up it, and it will potentially ramp up it as well. So I was able to use that there to get right to the top.
And it's weird watching Mobius get that first try. Because we all know I never get that first try.
Yeah, maybe not second try either. Or third.
Yeah, so Mobius is obviously here doing the Seek Repeat boss, and he's going to do something similar, but he's going to use the photo mode to actually make sure that Rivet does not jump onto the Speedle, and then he used the Migraine to sort of hit the area that the Speedle normally would have run into, and it just kind of, like, it works if you shoot it with normal weapons, so you actually don't even need the Speedle.
That's also really the only spot we use the Migraine in the run, sadly.
Yeah, it's just like a very precise weapon that you need for just making that a lot easier. You can use the Rhino more longer, but I find that really, really hard to work with the explosion radius that it sort of has.
Yeah, and here's the Clank section. Anyone loves Clank? Oh, and the Clank section's over.
Yeah, so
unfortunately in this game, they let you skip.
Have a skip puzzle.
Yeah, so all the glitch puzzles and Clank puzzles, the devs were nice enough to put in a skip puzzle button inside of the menu, so we can just kind of skip them all.
E o jogo tá, como eu disse, né, tá bem bonito em relação a gráficos. Dá pra ver bastante diferença, né? Por exemplo, do último que rolou, né? Do PS2 com esse. Quanto tempo de run? Tem 1h30 de estimate. Deixa eu ver aqui o PB do Ratchet.
Just go straight forward and spam X.
Yes. So the cutscene warp that we had mentioned before, or that Nautical had mentioned.
O world record do jogo é o runner que tá jogando, e ele tem 1h19 de tempo. Ele mandou 1h35, bem tranquilo. Mas acho que ele vai terminar bem antes até de 1h35. Ele deve terminar por volta de 1h23, por aí, eu acho.
But yeah, this is Xerxes. This is like the standard arena level. Most Ratchet and Clanks now have a level that's like dedicated to just sort of like arena fighting, and so this
Esse jogo
is
tá mais,
that
é mais
level.
bonito que o filme em CGI que saiu em
And in
2016.
NG
Tem filme do
Plus,
Ratchet Clank?
the arena
Não
is
sabia não.
pretty long, and a majority of it is just spamming the Rhino.
Yeah, like with other arenas in the series, there's usually some sort of gimmick or whatever that will make it go a lot quicker. But unfortunately, in this game, a lot of the waves are just set like you defeat one wave and the next wave comes out, and it's not particularly that fast. In this game,
Eu tô tentando prestar atenção nos itens que caem do portal
about
agora
2
que
minutes
falaram que são itens de outros jogos da Sony.
And I think it'd be a good time to get a lot of
Mas eu só
donations
consegui
out.
identificar uma chave do Kingdom Hearts aí, se era mesmo isso que eu tinha
There
visto.
are always so many with you on the game. Let's be real
Let
here.
them loose.
All right, here's $50 from Foas that says, "Good luck on the run, Mobius." Also,
Vamos ver quanto
importantly,
tá a
any
doação aí
bus
até o
bros?
momento.
And because they could, they donated another $5 that just says, "Gaming."
Gaming. Gaming indeed.
Gaming. All right, cool, cool. I have another special donation here, $50 that says, "Hey chat,
Tem o filme saiu junto do remake do PS4 de 2016. O filme é basicamente as cutscenes do PS4, mas tem...
Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate isn't met yet? I take it all back. No cute or comfy unless we all work together to unlock this bonus game.
Eu acho que muitos jogos da Sony vão acabar saindo pra PC, porque eles estão fazendo bastante port, né? Criaram até uma divisão pra fazer isso. Às vezes cai um robô gigante no lado. Ah, verdade,
Beautiful
verdade.
encouragement for all the cute chatters there. This is your reminder that our next game, potentially bonus game 3, which will close at the end of this game, we'll see. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is at $85,909.52 of the $100,077.77 we need. We're getting close.
Olha,
We
tudo
have
sai
time.
grátis
It's a
na
bit
época.
over an hour judging a little bit here on this game. Otherwise, we don't get more GDQ, you don't get any orange soda, you don't get any more memes. It's just keep it in mind. Here is $25 from
Ó, pelo menos interessante que,
Ratchet
diferente da
Ratchet
run
and
do
Clank on the main stage.
Ratchet
Keep up the
Clank
good work and let's
do
unlock the Final
PS2,
Fantasy
nessa
VII
run ele
Remake
luta, né,
bonus
contra
run.
os inimigos.
I think we can do.
Tem boss
three
no
more.
jogo.
I got a really
Tem
slow wave
inimigos.
there that just unfortunately lost a little bit of time. Nothing I could prevent.
Copy that. Here's $50 from Langry that says, "I recently finished Ripped Apart and enjoyed every minute of it. Great gameplay and fun characters. Looking forward to the run. I'm sure it will be riveting. Thanks, runners and staff." Let's go. Here's $250 from Apple Mac that says, "5 first-class tickets for the train, please." Very generous. Thank you very much for that. $50 here from C.A. Kirby that says, "Ratchet and Clank is my favorite franchise of
Nessa
all
run
time
ele
and
joga, exato,
Art
nessa run
completely
ele
blew me
joga.
away this year. Can't wait to see it get
Mas vamos ser
destroyed."
justos, vai. Tem
Sweet.
a gente
Yeah,
fala
there we
isso,
go.
mas apesar disso, vários skips que o cara fez lá no Ratchet
Just
Clank
about done with this
do
first
PS2
section.
são bem difíceis, né?
This arena has like a little bit
Não é
of
porque é mais
range,
rápido e
getting
mais...
faster through the enemy side.
Parece
I
ser mais
got
fácil que é
a
mais fácil, né?
bad one on the longest
Tem
wave,
vários
so,
glitches e skips que é bem
nothing
difícil de
much I can
fazer,
do
né?
there. But when we finish this, we'll be going into just a small cutscene and then another mini boss. So this mini boss
Esse
that's coming
jogo
up,
podia se chamar Ratchet and
really
Ribbit, né?
easily defeated, but is another demonstration of just the power of the Cold Front and Warmonger. There are a few other weapons that we use in this run later on. There's the Ms. Fungal weapon that just spawns 2 little fungal allies that will do chip damage. They're
Na real,
more
acho que o
important
próximo
when
vai
we
se chamar
have
assim,
higher
interessante.
HP enemies and we need that chip damage to really get the most out of our shots. Right here, you'll see we'll take this down. I think it's like 2 or 3 shots that will defeat Franquarian.
Yeah,
Yeah, just like that.
one thing worth mentioning too is on this NG Plus file we have all 25 gold bolts, but we really only need 24 because we play with infinite health and infinite ammo enabled.
Yeah. Not that it makes too much of a difference in this run, really. Like, it's... ammo is pretty good in NG Plus, and your weapons will always be stocked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Não,
pretty much
entender
we're
que
at
eles
the
vão
point where
continuar a
now
série.
the
Não,
game
eu
is
ia
going
perguntar
to
isso,
open
tem
up a
outros
lot.
deles? Porque...
So if you think
não
you've
sei, não
seen
vi
like
nenhum
some
até agora.
crazy stuff, just wait until next level, because we're going to be going to Savali, which is where we get the hover boots, and that is where the game will be completely broken open, and you will see why when we get there.
Yeah. So we're just about to
Voltamos para o Ratchet aí depois dela sair do planeta, né, na navezinha dela.
One of Ratchet and Clank's like first real
Os
examples
planetas
of
são
huge
muito bem
open
ambientados, né,
world
também.
area.
O
You
cenário tá
might
bem bonito,
recognize,
assim, tipo, a diferença entre os
Troll Canyon
planetas.
and A Crack in Time as like a prototype for this, but the thing about Savali is that you sort of just have free reign. You can travel like wherever you want to complete a few objectives. Right after doing this very
Ó, tá quase completando ali o Final Fantasy. Já tá quase em 88 mil dólares. Falta mais 12 mil aí. A gente tava precisando de 30 mil antes de começar aí, basicamente. Só falta 12.
Pretty much like an open world area, so I think it's kind of like a cool test as to like what Ratchet and Clank would kind of be like if it had sort of like an open world zone. So I think a lot of people really love this level, and I myself enjoy this level as well.
Assim que ele terminar essa partezinha, ele já vai fazer um reload no checkpoint, né? Porque o jogo dá um autosave naquela parte e ele consegue voltar para uma posição mais rápida para onde que ele tem que ir. E ele consegue as botinhas dele, que agora ele vai usar muito na run, porque vocês estão vendo o quão rápido ele tá se mexendo e voando aí. O boost tá complicado. Não sei o quão difícil é controlar esse boost aí que ele pega, mas é maneiro.
And it occurs when you are at full speed on the charge boots, and then you charge into a slanted surface, and you are holding L2, and then you swing the wrench, and Ratchet will kind of just go flying, and it's the coolest thing. And it also utilizes the last shortcut that we have, which is the slow speed shortcut.
Ele vai fazer um outro boost, ele encosta na paredezinha para mirar um pouco, para diminuir o tempo do jogo, né, a habilidade do jogo, e depois pega todo o momento e sai voando.
For some reason it gives us more speed when we have it slowed down.
Yeah, this one's
this one's actually pretty hard to get. So yeah, for this one, as you do it, you can turn Ratchet and the camera and do it, and you'll get like a really fast sideways momentum, which is what Mobius like.
Ele conseguiu, tá vendo que a câmera vai muito mais rápido e aí ele pega um boost e sai voando.
There's some terrain that can get in the way for that one specifically too.
Yeah.
Makes it more difficult.
Yeah, and you notice that Mobius had also landed on sort of like a patch on the ground.
E provavelmente vai morrer muito rápido porque é speed.
So those are called bounces, and those will happen a couple more times as well in the run.
É isso.
If you have that speed from
a luta contra os boss, mas também não é tão maluco assim.
Pretty much just the same as like how a proxy would work. You would run into it and you would go flying straight up, and so that's very useful as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple different
boss obrigado com sucesso, exatamente. Igual os boss de onde, Laporini? Os boss de Sirius Sans.
You're basically doing the same inputs as a wrench boost, but you're sort of canceling it out, and you could be in the open. You don't need any walls like you normally need for a wrench boost, and it gives a little bit of speed, but not the most. And then there's also recently found a IWB or interrupted wrench boost, where we can actually do the inputs for a BWB on a normal wrench boost and cancel out this sort of delay that we have to wait.
Ele vai daqui a pouquinho tentar fazer novamente o boost, né, com as botinhas dele.
After we do a wrench boost, we can just instantly jump.
Yeah. So I'll be trying a trick here, another wrench boost down to the third temple section. Unfortunately, one of my barriers got broken, so I'm going to have to restart checkpoint. And lose a little bit of time to that, but that's
Parece que tá muita atenção no skip que ele vai fazer agora, que é muito maneiro. Meu amigo. Ele errou uma vez, vamos ver. Aí, mano, olha isso. Nossa.
Yeah, so I got a ledge grab there.
Yeah, so normally you would bounce off a rock that Mobius was aiming for, and it would launch you up to a higher point.
E agora ele vai sair deslizando de botinha ali, maravilhosamente.
He's gonna have to go through this normally.
Sim, muito roubo. Cara, foi o mapa inteiro, quase pro início de onde ele tava, só com o boost da botinha. Ele vai tentar fazer de novo, eu acho. Perdeu. Você viu que ele passou deslizando em cima ali, né? Ele tinha que meio que bater ali e pegar um boost de novo. Não sei se ele vai tentar fazer de novo ou se ele só vai fazer da forma safe agora.
Yeah, so you really, for the first part, you only get one attempt at it, which like makes it
Mas
really
eu acho que ele
hard to
vai
practice
só
and
fazer
really
da
hard
forma
to,
safe mesmo.
to get down. But luckily, we can skip this very final section as consolation.
Ah, ele tava com um
there's
pouquinho de dificuldade para acertar o pulo, mas esse seria o backup
It's
strat,
gonna be
né?
finicky. Come on.
E não conseguiu de novo,
I'm still making it
e...
down.
Agora eu acho que ele
Yeah, so what
ficou
we're skipping
sem
here
paciência e
is
usou o
there's like
photo
a
mode ali
section where
pra
you have to like
pular
hop
de
on a rail and then you do a bunch of like wall running and it's kind of like another parkour section and we're kind of bypassing that.
Eita, cara. Acho que estamos tendo problema de FPS novamente.
Take me to that terminal so I can free the others. Oh no, a Zeta virus. I cannot access the terminal without risking
Voltou?
infecting it.
Voltou, né? É isso? Tá normal aí pra quem tá assistindo? Tá normal, né? Mas acho que teve umas quedinhas ali, né? De FPS, sei lá.
I think we're good again. I was having
Yep.
a little bit of issues for the
Espero
stream.
que
I think
ele
we're good
consiga
now.
terminar o run até o
Okay,
final
yeah,
sem
but pretty much
acontecer
what
de
you
novo
just missed
isso.
is Mobius was just killing a bunch of enemies that were on top of the mountain
É,
temple. There's a couple
o
of full
runner
sniper bots
ele
out there,
iniciou
so
o
you just
run, ele tava com alguns
shot the rhino
probleminhas
to
de
kill all of
internet.
them, and you didn't miss anything,
E tava
'cause
tudo
then
bem
you were just
agora, né, nessa
standing
vez que ele
at
voltou.
this
Mas,
glitch
bom,
puzzle.
acho
You
que
have to
de
wait for a
boas,
bunch of lines of dialogue to
tranquilo,
finish
acontece.
before he can enter into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, luckily that was like the best place for that to happen because that is the most boring part of Savali.
E agora ele vai abusar
So we're
novamente
doing
das suas
untitled skip
botinhas
now, so
voadoras
normally
aí.
we'd have to go through
E
like this
sair
really
pegando
cool
boost em
sort of
tudo quanto é
sequence where you
lugar.
go through a bunch of portals and climb up
Sabe o que
to
esses
archives
boosts
that
me
are
lembram?
running
Esses
the
boosts me
plateau
lembram o
right now,
Serious Sans
but we
também.
can just do a ramp
Porque pra quem não
and
sabe, no
ramp
Serious
up that
Sans você
specific,
também sai voando,
ramp
igual o
there
Ratchet.
and get all the height we need to
Só que
land
aqui você
right
tem
up
uma
here.
justificativa ainda,
So-
né? Você tem uma botinha voadora aí. No Serious Sans você encosta na parede e a parede te joga
Yeah, but you see
do
Mobius
outro lado do mapa, porque
just
sim, as
did
paredes
a
fazem
ramp
isso,
boost
aparentemente.
into a bounce and just landed all the way up at the archives, which skips that really cool looking section where you're kind of like on this racetrack with the hover boots leading up to this.
That trick's also a lot harder than it looks as well.
Essa arma principal que ele usa, né, de
Yeah, so
ficar
of course
atirando
Mobius here
portal
is
ou a
gonna be
bazuquinha,
using the rhino to
não me
kill
parece ser uma
enemies,
arma
and
que você
there's
já
gonna
tenha
be
desde o início do
sort of a
jogo, então
double
acho que essa é uma das
boss fight up
principais
here.
vantagens
He's
do
going
New
to
Game Plus,
throw sprinklers on
provavelmente.
either side, and he's gonna try and kill them both kind of at the same time here.
Yeah. That left one always gives me trouble. I feel like it has more HP.
It does.
You can
It does?
also,
Yeah.
Like straight up?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I did not know that.
yeah, and you can also use the cold front as well to kind of
Paredes
assist
te
in that
rejeitam.
damage. And you might be thinking,
Yeah.
like, you know, why can't you just go straight to the bolt crank right away? For a majority of the fights in this game, the game actually checks to see if you've completed the fight before it lets you turn it. So Mobius couldn't just go over there and start turning the bolt crank. It's making sure that the enemies are defeated and then it lets you do it.
Yeah. So I'll be closing the game here and reopening it. There's a little bug that occurs when you have like the game on for too long or just traveling through too much of the game. It causes a lot of black screens to occur, but it's quicker to just close the game, reopen it, like
Opa,
flush out the memory.
valeu pela
than it
raid,
is to
Ferrell.
deal with black screens potentially.
Seja
happening.
bem-vindo aí quem chegou junto
And-
com
Yes, this is pretty
o
much a
Ferrell.
safety kind of thing as well.
Pra quem não conhece aí, galera, o Ferrell, ele é runner de muitos RPGs. Ele é um verdadeiro guerreiro,
And so
porque ele é
Mobius
capaz de
just
ficar
did the wrench
muitas
combo
horas na
again,
frente
but
do
he did it
seu
on this,
PC, do seu
please on the
console,
crystal. And what it
jogando
allows you to do
joguinhos
is to actually
por turno
move
por muito tempo.
and use your weapons
E
during
ele
this
vai ser o
cutscene.
comentarista aí do
Also, Mobius is right
do
behind you.
Final Fantasy VII.
No, I was
Remake,
trying to shoot
Intermission,
behind me,
né,
but the
DLC.
camera was,
É jogo que ele corre,
obviously
inclusive, ele corre
really
tanto o
wasn't that
remake
well.
quanto
Yeah, so then he's gonna
o...
use
Acho que
some
você começou a
switch
correr
the,
o Intermission depois, né,
the
Ferrell?
mode to performance, so you can skip that cutscene.
Mas bom, ele manja muito
And
de
then we're
muito
gonna get the
JRPG,
mag section here
de
by
muito
doing
Final
the wrench boost
Fantasy,
just around it.
vários, e ele
Yeah,
vai estar
We skip
comentando
all
aí
the
o,
background sections through this
o,
game
Oh,
as
yeah, we
well.
skip
o,
it.
o
Yeah,
próximo,
we
o
skip
próximo
them all.
joguinho. Que ainda tá batendo a meta ali de doação, né? Mas como eu disse, com certeza vai bater. Eles não vão deixar o jogo de fora.
So we that jump
Acabou de
pad
falar.
I
Ah,
did
você
into this
veio,
cutscene where
você
there's
tava
the
fazendo
mirrors, that was
stream
patched,
de
but they
Intermission
left
e
like a
veio
little
direto pra
sliver,
cá.
like
Tá tudo
probably
fresco então
just
pra
for us, I
comentar.
assume, where they the cutscene trigger still sort of peeks out from the death barrier, so we can just
Treinado pros comentários.
get that
Boa.
cutscene from far away.
A gente tá tendo aqui
So,
um
doing
Ratchet
another
Clank
wrench combo
Rift
here,
Apart.
uh,
Jogo que eu
to skip a
particularmente,
very
infelizmente,
similar
não
cutscene
joguei
four
ainda.
hours away.
Então eu tô tentando fazer o meu melhor aqui.
Yeah, and this is actually like a really
Explicando
important
os
one. This one
skips
actually
enquanto
saves.
eu vejo. e
a
o
lot of
runner
time,
explica.
'cause you can now
Mas
just
bora
go
lá.
all the way over to the elevator and ride the elevator all the way down to the chief engineer while this cutscene is playing.
It saves,
You can
yeah,
also
for
do a
the-
wrench boost as well.
E é um
to
jogo
take
bem
you
novo
there,
também,
but
né?
it's a
O
little bit
Ratchet Clank
harder.
Rift Apart lançou ano
Yeah,
passado.
it's sort of lost
Lançou assim
stick.
que
Yeah,
o.
so it's
Não
easy to
tenho
get
certeza
lost
se
during
lançou
this as well,
junto
'cause
com.
you can't see your
sort of
render.
Não lançou
manipulate
junto
your
com o
camera
PS5 não,
before
porque o
you hit
PS5
this
lançou em
one. It will
2020 na
actually,
real,
like,
né?
help a little bit with
Mas
the
lançou
performance.
bem pouquinho tempo
Yeah,
depois que o
it does
PS5
like
lançou.
redirect to where the camera is supposed to be, though. So if you don't get like a really good angle,
Mas aquela ele vai fazer
we'll just end
um
up completely off track.
outro skip
But,
meio
like,
out of
doing what I did there,
bounds,
still
né?
saves
Ele vai
a few
ficar
seconds overnight
escalando a
over,
parede
so-
ali.
Yeah, so
Pra
now
trigar
again, we
a
have to
próxima
flee-
parte,
we
né?
have
O
to
jogo vai dar um
bring
autosave
3 blocks back to the chief
e aí ele
engineer.
consegue dar
Mobius do, where he was
um
trying to
restart
enter that cave,
checkpoint ali.
and then he
pra
never
já
got out
continuar
of
pra-
it. It's because he's
Aí,
actually doing the
conseguiu.
checkpoint to initiate
Assim que
sort
ele
of that
entrou ali
cave
naquela
sequence,
paredezinha,
'cause
começou o
normally
chat,
the
que era o
cave
trigger da
drops
próxima
in, and
parte.
you have to, like,
Né?
do
O
this
jogo
wide
achou que ele já
section.
tava lá.
But we found
E aí
out
ele
that
dá
if you just
um
grab
restart
the
load porque ele tá
checkpoint and
mais
just not
perto
do
da
it,
próxima
the next
parte do
checkpoint that
planeta
loads is
agora.
actually
Ele faz
at the
muito
bot,
isso
so
no
then we
jogo.
can just go up to the bot,
Igual
and we just skip
o
the
Ratchet
section.
Clank que rolou lá
Yeah.
do PS2, né?
And the second bot
Só
there,
que no
like,
PS2 ele usava
just
Death
goes where
Warp,
it's
né?
supposed to go.
Ele
Third
saía out
bot
of bounds,
also,
fazia
skips
os
a huge
triggers que ele
section. A lot of
precisava
people did
e
this
se
now,
matava,
but
né?
they
Pra...
just got over here, double jumped up like that,
Ah,
and
opa.
then just landed over
Não
where the
conheço
bot is.
ninguém com
Yeah,
PS5.
this one's
Será
always
que lançou em
interesting.
2020?
'Cause, yeah,
Sim,
there's
lançou em
actually a puzzle you're
2020.
supposed to do to
E
get to
eu
the
tenho
spot, and
PS5,
you can just
Teclas.
kinda
Eu
just jump
comprei em
over to
2020.
him, and it lets you, like, it just works. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Ratchet Clank lançou dia 11 de junho, junto
A
da
little bit of
E3
flashing lights
2021.
warning because this PMA.
Então já tinha um tempinho,
so
já
what happens
tinha
when you
quase
do a
um
photo
ano de
mode is that
PS5.
it sends the camera all the way up to like the skybox. Here, that does it, and it might cause a few graphical errors, just like that.
Tem 12 pessoas, exatamente, igual o runner aí de Final Fantasy VII falou, né? Existem
Nice.
12 pessoas
So
com
why I did that
PS5
PMA
no
when
mundo.
the boss was spawning was because doing that while the boss is like halfway in and out of
Mas
the
lançou assim, Teclas.
platform there,
Na época eu comprei na pré-venda e eu
causes
recebi
the
meu
momentum of the boss to
PS5
still
no
move
finalzinho de
along, but when
novembro,
you
antes de dezembro ainda.
exit at the right time, it'll wedge him in a wall and instantly defeat the boss. And that's like a few
Tipo,
seconds
dia
quicker than,
29, dia
defeating it
30
normal.
de novembro eu
We do
recebi.
that on 2 bosses in Torn, and then we can do that on 1 more boss on our revisit to Sargasso.
Ou dia
But,
25,
in
sei lá, foi por aí.
Plus, we just kill him so fast that one's not actually necessary.
Em 2020, no caso, né? Foi no
There's
finalzinho.
nothing much to talk about here, though. Is there a donation that we can
Oh,
get in there?
absolutely.
Faz nem
This
meio ano de
$5
lançamento do game, o povo já
peanut
estreia o
that says,
limite
"Hey,
do game,
Mobius,
está
good
dando
luck on the
vídeo,
run.
vamos
The
esquipar,
whole
é
Ratchet
genial. E
community is
sim,
watching
sim,
and cheering you on. Really
foi o que eu
glad to
tinha
see the
dito.
latest entry getting its spotlight on the GDQ stage. May your wrench
É
boots
muito bom
boosts
a
be good and
questão
your
que
mod
tipo,
axes
o início
fast.
dos jogos na
Thank you
speedrun,
very much, Peanut.
o empenho que a comunidade faz para
Alright,
descobrir
now
as
we
coisas.
have all for one skip.
E na real, assim, não quer dizer que eles já descobriram tudo, né?
Yeah, so this skip
Você
coming
pode
up,
ver que eles
we in the
descobriram
community
muita
call this
coisa,
all for one
mas
skip, but
até
it's
então
literally just a
o
wrench
jogo,
boost
como você disse, não faz nem meio ano.
that takes you all the way to the trail.
Certeza
So
que eles
there's a
ainda descobrem
notoriously
mais
long
skips,
rail
mais
section that
stretches
we have
ainda aí
to go
pela
on,
frente.
and we can skip that entire thing.
E realmente tem
doing
jogos
this
que
skip.
saíram há décadas e ainda
So what
descobrem
Mobius just
glitches
did is
até
that he
hoje em dia.
skipped riding the elevator,
O
so
próprio
that
Dark
takes
Souls
7
1, que vai
seconds,
rolar na
and then he's
AGDQ
gonna
desse
wrench
ano, All
boost
Bosses,
all the way over to the trail. And you'll
eu não sei
see-
que rota que eles vão fazer, mas eu acho que eles vão
yeah,
fazer a
definitely.
rota mais
Yeah,
atual.
yeah, so we got that first
A
one.
rota mais
Which
atual,
is
cara,
really good, 'cause
tem
this skip is
stretch
actually very
que foi
hard.
descoberta esse
It's really
ano.
hard to get
E
used
o Dark
to,
Souls
especially
1
for new people.
já vai
Getting
fazer 11
super
anos de
long wrench
lançamento
boosts
esse
can be
jogo.
pretty difficult, so
There's a
Yeah.
lot
On that.
of a lot of death.
Ainda bem cru e já me... Ah, sim, ó.
Yeah, so
Isso aí tá bem
what you don't
fake
see
news,
there
Teclas.
is that I'm
Ó, o Gabriel
traveling
também
left and then
pegou
right
em
in
2020,
specific
pegou
portions
dia
just to
23 de dezembro.
avoid those
Pegou
death
quase no
vectors.
Natal, hein?
And you have to really work with your speed to get proper bounces off those slope platforms. Because sometimes you can
Você
hit
conseguiu
at
comprar
an
em
incorrect
novembro
angle.
ainda, Gabriel? Porque
What I-
essa data aí
what
que
sort of
você
happened there
comprou o
was,
seu, eu tava
I hit
recebendo o
it
meu.
sort of too shallow
E eu
to
não,
get
eu
most of
lembro
the
que
angle.
já tava
So I
bem
did have to
esgotado,
improvise a
assim,
little
tipo,
bit,
pra
but I
comprar.
did have enough speed to make it
Eu
up.
comprei o meu acho que em
yeah, there's a
setembro,
couple
mano.
ways you
Por
can
aí.
actually do that as well.
Ainda quando eu
So,
comprei ainda
you
tinha
saw
bastante,
Mobius
não,
initially
não
jump
tava
into
tendo
it.
toda essa
You can
procura
actually
aí e
fly
tudo mais.
past it,
Aí do nada acabou, aí quando
checkpoint,
acabou
and then just
que
turn
começou
in,
a
go
ficar
straight
louco o
for the drill.
negócio.
So you can do it all-in-one wrench boost. That's very hard to do. I wasn't expecting that Mobius was going to get that.
Inclusive, hoje em dia, se você for comprar um PS5, é muito mais caro do que na época que a gente comprou, né, na pré-venda. Tava bem barato. Bem barato é complicado de falar, né? Na real tá caro o videogame. Mas estava bem mais barato do que o preço original, digamos assim, porque tava com bastante desconto na pré-venda e tal. Hoje o pessoal tá cobrando uma grana meio complicada. Compensa um PS5? Pra mim compensou muito, cara, de verdade. Até porque o meu jogo favorito de run tá no PS5. E... Por exemplo, se de repente a pessoa não tem um PS4, que é o meu caso, e começou a ter problema de FPS de novo aqui. E é o seu caso também, né? Bom, a gente não tinha um PS4. O PS5 ele tem retrocompatibilidade com o PS4, né? Então, além dos jogos de PS5, que beleza, não tem tantos assim, mas já tem alguns muito bons, você consegue jogar todos os jogos de PS4, né? E você ganha Plus Collection lá também, que já é tipo um monte de jogo ótimo de PS4. Inclusive vem o Ratchet Clank lá de 2000 do PS4, se não me engano, na Plus Collection. Então pra mim, tipo, eu tive acesso a vários jogos que eu nunca tinha jogado ainda, porque eu não tinha um PS4. Como Bloodborne, ou God of War, alguns Uncharted. E vários outros exclusivos. The Last of Us, eu nunca tinha jogado The Last of Us, fui jogar a primeira vez no PS5 também, tanto um quanto o 2. Conseguiu comprar. Foi um lote surpresa. Nossa, mano, da hora. Sim, pra mim valeu muito a pena também. O Persona 5 tá no Plus. O que tá agora é o Strikers, né? Que é tipo Musou. É um estilo um pouquinho diferente, né? Não é Persona mesmo. Mas o Persona 5 vem na Plus Collection também, que é pra quem pega o PS5, né? Esse é o Ratchet do PS5, Chris. É o Rift Apart.
There's a bunch of different ways you can actually do this, which is actually really nice.
Meu jogo favorito de jogar é o Demon Souls Remake, que é o jogo principal que eu corro. E o que eu mais tô ativo, né, em relação a descobrir glitch, correr e estar na comunidade e tudo mais. E a gente descobre muita coisa no jogo.
We do have alternate ways where you can like straight up skip that entire rail. But we opted to do just kind of the fast rail.
Yeah, and it doesn't save much more to do the alternate strat, and if you screw it up, then you end up losing a lot more time anyway.
Às vezes ele tá pulando aí, né? E ele tá pegando esses dash, nesses negocinhos aí que ele sai girando. E às vezes passam uns barcos voando aí, né? E ele pode ser atingido por algum deles e sem querer cair, né? Então ele teve sorte aí também que é RNG e ele não pegou. Sim, Demon Souls é muito bom. Joguem Demon Souls. Joguem muito Souls. Me estraga a palavra Souls. Esse bicho é um gato, eu tava tendo essa mesma discussão um tempo atrás, BRNPK. Descobrimos que ele é um Lombax. E no caso aí quem tá é a Rivet, né? Não é a Ratchet. Personagem feminina, da mesma raça dele. Mas é uma raça alienígena.
You can photo mode abuse during the cutscene that'll pop up in a second, right here. And when I hold this for long enough and wait for the camera to start
esse boss aí, tá vendo que o boss tá bem aí na câmera dele? Então, ele usou o photomod pra quando o boss spawnar ali, ele clipou o boss na arena com o photomod. Aí o boss caiu da arena ali e morreu. É isso. FF7 vai a noite toda? Não, Holy. É a run que vai rolar de FF7 é no remake. E é a categoria. E é a DLC do remake. É a Intermission. Ela é mais curtinha, vai dar uns 50 minutos de run. Agora, se fosse o jogo mesmo, né, no remake, aí ia dar bastante tempo, que é umas 6, 7 horas de run. Mas é a DLC, é uns 50 minutos.
But it's good to mention. Ship that normally travels over.
Yeah, but it's good to mention if you normally die, like
DLC da Yuffie,
he'll actually spawn.
Tem uma frase maravilhosa da Yuffie na DLC, que ela fala "That's what she said". E é um dos meus alertas em algumas coisas. E a Yuffie também
Rounds are
canta
also very
Victor
difficult,
Fanfare, né?
so
That one is
awesome.
very fun to do.
Mas com a vozinha dela, que é muito
yeah,
melhor
it's
que a minha.
a lot of fun. I was really scared there. I get a wall slide.
Yeah, and that's another one where there's multiple surfaces that you can actually bounce off of. He did a ramp, and there's also a pipe that is next to that ramp that you can also get it off of. And there's a couple of other places you can also use.
Yeah. So the rail section here, like other rail sections, we want to be on the rails as little as possible. So you might have saw there that I did a restart checkpoint and I was suddenly off the rail and I was able to do movement as river. So when you hold the stick in specific directions and start mashing
Ele
it
tá
up,
fazendo.
you're able to
Ele vai tentar sair out of
use
bounds
that
aqui,
grace period before the river is actually
nessa
on the
parte de
rail,
skating. E
to
ele não
jump
conseguiu, ele vai
and
tentar
then
de
move
novo.
away from the
Porque aí ele já
track
consegue pular pra
radius. So
parte
this
de
one's a
baixo
bit
do
difficult
skate. Mas acho que ele pula assim que ele volta.
Yeah, so we
Aí
do this
isso,
3
aí ele consegue o
times
ataque.
for this section.
E ele já consegue
be
esquipar pra parte de
difficult.
baixo do
A lot of
skate.
it comes down to just mashing, kind of hope you get it. But you
Deixa eu
saw
ver se esse
Moby
jogo é
section went to
RTA
that
ou
rail section
IGT.
backwards, so he could grab that rift, so now he's up at this last
Pelo
part.
uso do Photo Mode deve ser RTA,
There can be
porque.
a couple ways to sort of have a consistent setup for it, but that of course takes time. We're not about that. So.
Dang.
É,
That's another
RTA,
one.
porque você usa
Yeah, so
Photo
that
Mode
rail
no
shot
jogo
is
e
kinda
Photo
difficult
Mode
to
para o
grab. There's
IGT,
a
né,
death
geralmente.
box pretty much around
Por
the
isso que
whole
geralmente
thing,
o
but
Photo
there's a
Mode é até
slight
proibido em
diagonal
alguns jogos,
where
né?
you can grab it, where you'll be able to live, so he was trying
Mas
to grab it
como
with
no
that.
caso eles
Luckily,
usam
if you
Photo Mode pra
die,
bastante
it
glitch no
spawns you
jogo,
like pretty much right next to it, so it
Yeah,
doesn't
it
really
loses
lose.
então é
very
RTA o
little
tempo.
time
Eu também nem
to
sei se o jogo
cross
tem
this
algum
I'm gonna
momento
try
que
to
mostra o
another image here
IGT,
at the
né?
top.
Então.
This one's a bit of a joke.
yeah,
but,
Might as well go for it.
And there we go. And I got it.
Ele conseguiu
Yeah,
aumentar
so
o
that
boost
really
ali com
doesn't
o
save,
Photo
like,
Mode que ele
anything.
tava.
It's just kind of cool
Yeah, no, it
to do. I'm pretty sure it probably loses time. but,
Ultrapassou
if it
tudo
looks
out of
cool,
bounds.
then you might as well do it.
Vai ultrapassar o bounds de novo,
Loses like half a
provavelmente.
second,
Ou
but,
não?
you know.
Yeah,
Vamos ver se ele pega um boost de
so
novo.
there'll be
Não, ele já tá
another
na
cutscene
nave, é isso.
warp coming up here that Mobius is
Não vi a
gonna
nave,
be
não.
attempting to do, and it'll
Hopefully
skip
I get this one.
it'll skip riding the elevator.
Eu tinha
So
visto
we're
uma
going
run de
into
Demon Souls.
Cordelia,
Sim, a
there's
gente
really
usa
an
os
elevator
cards
that
de
you have to
atividade,
ride
ô,
over to
João.
the main, I guess, base that you're
Mas a
trying to go
gente,
to.
ao contrário do que as
And
pessoas
you can
pensam
skip
ou
that.
pensavam, não sei, não precisa pagar a PS
Yeah,
Plus para
Mobius
usar os
pretty
cards
much
de
made it.
atividade
Looks
no
like he's
Demon
gonna have to
Souls.
do a
Não sei se
couple
em outros jogos
photo
precisa.
mode abuse jumps.
Mas
So here's
aqueles
an example of,
warps
using
que
the
a
hover
gente
boost
usa os
to do
cards de
that. So I guess
atividade,
we did get to see that a little bit.
todo mundo pode usar,
But
não
yeah,
precisa
you
ter a
pretty much
PS
skip that whole
Plus não.
elevator, riding on that elevator over to here and just was
A
here
gente
already.
usa
So
os cards para dar o warp
that's
mais rápido em alguns momentos do jogo.
Cool. Now we're on another elevator. Unfortunately,
Não,
you
não
can
paga
walk out
pra
of this
usar.
one, but it doesn't do anything until the elevator's at the bottom because it's a dialogue trigger. So, good time for 2 donations, I think.
Mas mesmo se você não
Alright,
usar
well,
os
kick it
cards de
off with
atividade, tipo o
$250
tempo que
from a
você
very special
perde, na rota atual do
Rex,
jogo.
who is the current
Na
online
rota atual do
producer
jogo a
here.
gente não
It
usa
says, "Hey there,
os
AGDQ
cards.
Studio
A gente
Tech
usava
Crew
mais em
here,
algumas rotas
begging you
antigas,
to
mas
get the Final Fantasy VII
na
remake
rota atual a
incentive
gente usa
back.
tipo
We're so
2
close.
vezes
Make
na
us do
run
more work, please.
e tipo,
Also,
tá
chat,
economizando
did you know that you're
15
very
segundos aí,
cute?
vai. Se você não quiser usar
That's
também
right,
não
we're
tem
at
tanto problema. Mas a gente usa, porque
$94,551
tem
of
time save e time save.
100,077. We're within
E o IGT não
just
para não,
about
quando você usa
5,500
o card de
there. We're really
atividade. Você
close.
faz um warp normal, né?
And
Sweet.
here's $5 from Ramona. Very cute donation here. This is a
Tipo, o
donation
jogo tá
from my
rodando ainda de
8-year-old
fundo,
daughter.
tem.
Here's
Quando
what she
você
has
abre
to
o
say.
card.
That's all I have to offer because I don't know how much money I have.
Aí ele tá
Great
fazendo
show so
novamente
far.
os boosts
Let's
lá
start
com a
a $5
botinha, né?
donation train
Com
for the bonus
Ratchet.
game in honor of her donation.
Yeah, get those in. And yeah, what happened there was at the bottom of the elevator, I did a wrench boost through a corridor. There is nothing remarkable about that until this point.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so this is Cordelia.
Então estamos aí chegando a 48 minutos de run. E olha lá, o Final Fantasy Remake já tá com quase $95 mil, então vão faltar só $5 mil aí pra rolar o joguinho. Então, Ferrell, não se preocupe, você irá comentar. Eu sei que você sabe, né, mas tudo bem.
yeah, this room here doesn't have much in it either. Like, it's...
Yeah, also something
It's
Mobius just did there where he restarted checkpoint, entering that room. Wasn't that found like yesterday?
Yeah, that was found yesterday.
Yeah.
Beta posted that yesterday.
Shout out to
yeah,
Vita.
so...
Yeah, Beta's the second place runner in all categories. Has all collectibles world record. My apologies.
Mais
Yeah,
um
he is,
elevador,
like,
né? A gente
just
ama
very
elevador
good
em
at strat
speedrun,
running and
né?
really, like,
Maravilha,
putting
a
out the
gente
nitty-gritty
não
when
pode
it comes
fazer nada.
to time save in this game.
Dependendo do elevador, claro. E aí, Pissal,
so here's
boa
another
noite.
elevator. This one isn't that long, so... but pretty much it's going to be
Yeah.
lowering into like another puzzle room. But Mobius is just going to, he's just going to hover boot up to the crystal. Because
Yeah.
why do the parkour section? But we still actually have to wait, so Mobius won't be hitting the crystal until the checkpoint icon shows up. Because we have to wait for that to load in.
Yeah. Otherwise he soft locks, so it's pretty bad.
T-pose.
Yeah, we didn't get the
T-pose.
T-pose, unfortunately.
Oh.
So yeah, so I guess we could explain that for a second.
Ele não conseguiu um glitch que
If
ele
you
queria
hover
mostrar
boot
aqui, que era
into
basicamente
that
assim.
room and you jump,
Ah,
when the cutscene
ele,
starts,
ele
and you
ia
skip
tentar
the
esquipar a cutscene ali,
Ratchet will
e se
still
ele
have
consegue
that
esquipar do
momentum,
jeito
and he's
certinho,
T-posing while he's in
você
midair
volta
with
pro
momentum,
jogo,
and it's
tipo,
really
com o
fun.
personagem se mexendo, né,
Yeah,
no
no, I
boost
was
da
trying to get it,
botinha,
but I banked
com ele
it,
fazendo uma
but,
T-pose,
it's
né?
alright.
Yeah, so
É
this
tipo
bull crank right
os
here is
bracinhos
an
abertos,
instance
assim,
of
sabe?
fight
Imagina
that
o
is
T, o
actually,
corpo da
not
pessoa com os
required,
bracinhos
so
parados,
we don't actually
estáticos,
have to
assim, e o
kill any
boneco
of these
voando pra
enemies,
frente.
we just turn the bolt crank right away.
Mas ele não
Yeah, it's one
conseguiu.
of the few instances where we can just like jump into the room and
Yeah, there's not
do what we want.
very many fights. I'm pretty sure that's the only fight that we can just go straight to the bolt crank. Every other fight we have to do.
yeah, especially on Cordelion, like there's always something we have to do in the combat sections here. For example, there's one coming up at the very end of the stage which has a few interesting elements to it. I was jumping around the room for too long. It's okay.
Yeah, in a little bit we'll be introduced to Juice, who is
Our boy
everyone's
Juice.
favorite. I don't know what to call him. What kind of animal is Juice? It's like a dinosaur or something.
Just something. Just a
think he's a
juice.
hedgehog.
Yeah. We'll just call him Juice.
This will be Sonic
But
in 30
yeah,
years.
Caraca, eu mal falei
Yeah,
que
you
eu
saw
tinha
Juice a little bit
arrecadado
earlier. He was
os
like
dólares
banging on the
ali.
elevator. Like, we went into it from
E
before,
já
yeah.
arrecadaram
There's like a- I
mais.
guess,
Desde o de
like
quase agora
a
que eu
mini
falei,
scary section
já
coming
foram
up
mais
where
700
Juice is gonna
dólares aí,
be
mais ou menos.
kind of chasing us around, like trying to stop us. But
Tem
we're gonna go, like,
1072
ignore him and
dólares.
just do our
Realmente,
own
né? Quem
thing.
que foi que fez
Yeah.
essa meta,
But yeah.
cara? Tipo, tem 1078,
Yeah,
sabe?
regardless of how much health we have, it's
Yeah, because Juice actually can't hit us because we have infinite health, so
but that's like
A pessoa que fez essa meta de 100.078 dólares, ela sabia, ela tinha certeza que alguém ia ficar incomodado com 78. E ela fez de propósito.
yeah, so Mobius kind of got that wrench boost.
Nada me diz
You
o
can wrench boost
contrário.
off that like little flap in that door. Also, there's Juice. Everyone say hi to Juice.
Yeah. Getting really good at my BWBs today.
Yeah, they have actually been pretty solid. Yeah, so in this room, there is 2 doors on the left and 1 in the center. And to access the center door, which is the one that we want to go to, we have to activate these 2 terminals. And one of them's in this room, and the other one is on the opposite side, and it's a bolt crank. So Mobius is just going to be going to both of those to activate
Na
them.
verdade, eles
in the middle
falaram que era
door.
77 e
Yeah, we can
77
restart
por
checkpoint
conta
after these
do
terminals, which
FF7.
just skips a lot of dialogue and all that, and Juice sort of banging on
Mas
the
faltou o
wall.
77 e 77 ali, né? Porque
Yes,
botaram
Probably takes
78.
like 30 seconds because it takes us back exactly where we need to be.
Yeah, so you saw Juice there at the very start when Mobius
A gente ainda tem mais umas meia hora de run
He
aí.
kind of disappears, and then he's gonna respawn right here in a second. Maybe we'll see him
didn't even
jump
come
up.
Meia hora de muito
He didn't even come up that
patins,
time. I've never
Wow.
seen
kicks
that.
e
Like,
photomon.
Juice like hops out of the water there and like tries to attack you.
You just get a small wrench boost off of Juice.
Yeah, I did.
That's awesome.
I gotta make the best of my opportunities. All right, we're gonna PMA here. Oh, we're gonna PMA here.
E ele fez glitchzinho aí com photomod
So normally
e
you're supposed to
FPS
be like
pra ele conseguir
on
usar a
mag
bota aí
ramps
debaixo
and,
da
like,
água
really
e sair
slow,
dando os
and you can
boosts,
only, like,
porque
jump forward.
em teoria
And not
nessa
use
parte aí do
but
jogo é
here
pra
we
você meio que ir
PMA'd so
nadando,
that
porque você tá debaixo
activation
da água, né?
sequence was skipped, and we
Mas
just
não
hover
estamos
all the way
nadando,
on the
porque
sequence,
o
and
runner
play as
ele
normal
é
Ratchet.
mais esperto que o jogo, e aí ele usa a botinha pra ir até
Yeah,
lá.
this saves a lot of time. This was really awesome
Shout
when
out
it
to
was
Saigyo.
found.
Às vezes o contador arredonda pra cima e pra
So we're
cá.
gonna
Não,
avoid
não,
Juice
sim,
again,
sim.
hit this crystal.
Vai
and
falar que seria
I
pior se
believe
fosse mais
we're
quebrado,
gonna
e é
do
mais
the-
quebrado.
try to do- We're going to try to do the door skip here, possibly.
Yeah, we're gonna try our best. One,
O
two,
decimal, né? Tá falando.
Yeah, so
Oh, that is not gonna do it.
so pretty much there's like a door that
No.
2 enemies are going to spawn out of. Not sure if Mobius got it or not.
No, it's so that was a weird camera angle, and I sort of shot at the wrong position, so I was like probably like a half second too slow on that.
Yeah, so pretty
That's
much
okay.
so pretty much there's a door that we're going to exit out of after this fight, and that you can actually do this fight in a particular way to where that door stays open when the enemies spawn, and it skips this whole section that Mobius is about to do where he has to do like a fight here.
Yeah, the checkpoint's
Yeah.
actually inside of the door as well, so we don't have to fight any of the bosses that come out of it. We just
Yeah.
walk right past
Yep.
them.
There's that as
Yeah.
well.
Maravilha que agora ele vai
you go.
skipar
Yeah,
3
so there's
bosses com
3
uma coisa
bosses that
bem
come out of this,
específica.
but if you
Ele
hit
até
the
spamou a
checkpoint
vida do
right
boss
there,
ali. Ele entra
you can
no
just, like,
limite ali de
restart
divisão da
checkpoint and
área
end up
e
in
dá
the
um
next
restart
room.
checkpoint.
Juice.
E aí ele vai pra
You can
próxima
also
área.
access
O
that
jogo acha que ele
crystal
matou o boss
before,
ali.
before
E aí
juice
abre a
bounces.
próxima tela.
Yeah.
Mas acho que o
And
skip que eu mais
that's-
gostei
and
até
that's
agora
pretty
foi
much
quando ele
it for
clipou o
healing.
boss no
So all
chão.
we're doing now is
O
we're
boss
waiting
cai
for
do
this
céu, né?
elevator.
Quando o
This
boss tá
level has a lot
caindo,
of
ele abre o
elevators.
fotomolde e o
And
boss
so now we're
atravessa o
waiting for
chão e morre. É
Jumpbot
isso.
to open this elevator, and then it's going to be another maybe 15 to 20 second elevator ride up to the surface.
Yeah, I think we can get another donation in here, if possible.
Another donation. Okay. If you
Ela
choose
já tá quase alcançando os 96 mil ali.
There's $500 here from Alex, who says, "What a great game to see at this year's AGDQ. Huge thanks to the organizers and runners this year. Special shout out to my brother
O dev
Grant,
do
who
jogo
worked on
acabou de
Rift
doar
Apart."
dinheiro. Teve bastante doação de dev
Yeah, no, I
nessa,
know. So
nessa
that's
maratona.
Grant, the designer. Yeah, he did a lot of good work on this game. That's amazing.
I think we have a moment that I can give chat a friendly reminder here.
Yeah.
Oh
easy.
yeah, you're good. Yeah.
So, while we're still working on that Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate Bonus 3, Game 3, yes, I have to say it all at once, just to remind you all, when you go to put in your donation, select Incentives, hit Bonus Game 3, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, or whatever else you're choosing, and make sure you confirm.
Teremos uma boss fight aí agora,
where it says
onde
"and,"
a
and
boss
then you're
será
good to go.
derretida.
And then your donation will count towards the incentive of your choice and enter you in for so many amazing
Mas ela tem mais de
prizes.
uma fase, né? É, tipo, ele
yeah,
diminui até
so this is
80% ali a
the
vida
Dr.
dela
Ferris fight here.
e
He's,
vamos para a
taking
próxima
the
fase,
Dimensionator from us,
onde tem um pouquinho de
and we
skating
have to fight him once again. We
e
fought
um
him in the
pouquinho
mech at the very start of the game.
de
Now we're fighting him by
jumping
himself.
nos,
So this boss
nos
fight is very
portalzinhos ali,
straightforward. Again,
uns
it's all
trem
about
voando
fighting
do nada.
Warmonger. I jump a lot on the rail there. I was the first person to start doing that, I think, just to preserve a lot of speed.
E aí
into that
ela
whole shot.
dá pra lutar novamente
And
contra a
again,
boss, com a
another
Grievous,
sequence
né?
where we just
Mas aí a gente vai até 50% só a vida dela e tem que ir pra próxima
Just
fase
kind of waiting
novamente.
for us here on Zerkies, like he somehow found out about our
Alguém aí
base.
doou 4k de dólares.
So
Alguém
he
aí
was just
doou
kind of
4k de
waiting
dólares
here
pra
for
gente
us to
ter
get
uma...
the Dimensionator parts. and he just
É,
kinda
hoje na
yanked it
cotação
from us.
atual, 1,5 bilhão de reais.
yeah.
And so we're kind of going
O
back
jogo
and
frenético
visiting
tem pra
all
PC,
the-
não,
a
não
couple of
tem
the previous
BRPK,
plants we
é
just
exclusivo
played,
de
as
PS5,
sort of like
ele é
a
exclusivo da
multi-dimensional
Sony,
boss
né?
fight, which is kind of cool.
Pode ser que um dia saia pra PC, mas por enquanto ainda não tem não.
Yeah, I also restarted
Convertendo
checkpoint
dá
at the
mais ou
start
menos
of
o valor do meu
Sargasso
bairro.
again. That just allows me to
Comprem
damage
o
the
bairro
Nefarious
do
and the Ground
Laporini
at the
aí.
same time, which obviously saves a lot of time because we can defeat them or like get Nefarious down to his health gate really quickly. But yeah, that fight is we make quick work of that, and we skip that cutscene where Emperor Nefarious, who is Nefarious but British, comes up. I mean, it's weird that like the only avenue they could take was making Nefarious British as even more evil, but you know, chew on that. And we are going to Sargasso.
Yeah, so this game actually has a couple of revisit levels, and they pretty much only happen in the back half. So now there's a new objective on Sargasso that we have to do to progress the game. And you kind of see it's kind of, we landed in a whole different spot of Sargasso.
Yeah,
Não tinha
so we
tranquilo,
do,
ele já
like,
sabe que os
completely
inimigos
different
vão dar
sequences to the first
spawn e
visit,
ele fica
and,
spawmando tiro
we're now
neles, né?
facing enemies
Novamente a
like
estratégia que eu
Nefarious
falei
on
de
Sargasso now.
assim que o jogo passa um
This
trigger, né?
first
Tipo,
combat
você já terminou
sequence
aquela parte, ele dá um restart checkpoint
Bit of a
pra
bit
voltar de
weird,
uma
but
parte mais
We
próxima. em vez
restart
de
checkpoint
aqui.
here so we can respawn a barrier that allows us to wrench boost and navigate through this swamp section a little quicker. Nice, I got it first try and I got through all the checkpoints. Sweet.
Yeah, that wrench boost
That
is
was-
always really cool. You kind of just go all the way over to here. This is pretty much just kind of like you kill a bunch of enemies.
De fato,
wrench boost
na parte de
to the
incentivos
next group of
pro
enemies,
FF7
then
é
wrench boost to the
100
next
mil
group of
dólares,
enemies.
77
So
dólares e
Yeah.
77 centavos.
That was really
Legal,
strange.
legal.
I was selecting Rhino,
Valeu,
but it still
Metal
kept
Grilo.
out my Warmonger.
Seu
I
nome
didn't quite
Metal Grido
get the
é por
barrier
conta
I
de
wanted
tipo
to
Metal
spawn.
Alchemist
I can
ou eu estou errado?
back this up a little bit.
Yeah, so coming up here, there's going to be another Nefarious Juggernaut fight that Mobius
I don't.
will destroy pretty quickly.
Yeah, I won't be using the PMA strat since I haven't practiced that one in a while, and it only saves a few seconds and is very difficult. So
Yeah, because I know that's more big for the other categories because you don't
Yeah,
actually have
for
to
sure.
do the fight.
yeah. In the other categories where the
Podia ter
medium
colocado
category ammo is a
770.
lot more important, that fight is
Poderiam.
like at the end of an already
Poderiam
heavy animated
colocar
section. So
$777 mil.
very important to skip that.
777.
Yeah, so in this section you normally
Na
play
verdade
as
não, é
Kit,
porque
but
eu
of
curto
course we can
metal
skip it,
e
so
curto grido.
we all play
Ah,
as
tá.
Kit.
É que no Full Metal, bom,
Yeah.
tem o
There we
Metal
go.
no nome do anime, né? E o
This range
personagem
boost can
principal.
always be a
E
bit
tem o
more
Greed
Yeah,
lá
sort of
também.
wow. Section.
Tipo, ele é
We
um dos
skipped the
pecados, enfim.
entire sort of obstacle course just by going underneath
Teve
the
sentido.
dropship
Na minha
and
análise
getting
teve
the checkpoint there
sentido.
and then restarting.
Mas é
And,
isso.
formerly, we used to be able to
Mas da hora,
kind
Nick,
of
da hora.
bounce all the way up to the top, but this was considerably faster.
Yeah.
It looks cool too, so that's a plus.
So I'm going to PMA here, and this looks pretty useless.
Se fosse
The camera's not going
777,
up, nothing's really happening. There's
777k, teria que
weird
ser
drag
meio de
thing on our
maratona.
screen. But it turns out when you PMA right here,
Nem
it
tanto.
just, like,
A
matches
maratona
the
com certeza
video.
vai
You can get
arrecadar
a
mais do que
cutscene, like, at a really weird
777k.
camera angle like that.
Hoje é o
and saves a
terceiro
few
dia de
seconds of going
maratona,
up and
começou dia
manually
9
riding her.
e já arrecadou $627 mil.
They made sure to include a flying flight section in this game.
Eu,
and this
ó,
is the
eu
only
arrisco
one
dizer
that is
que
included,
até,
so
até
we're pretty much
amanhã,
gonna
até o
be
final do
using
dia de
True
amanhã,
to
já passou de
destroy these,
777k.
nefarious ships.
É, não por um jogo só. É, realmente,
I'm
aí.
gonna try for some time save that I definitely know exists.
Só se tivesse só um jogo.
We're
Com...
just magically
Play
saving.
this nautical.
We're magically saving 6
Cool.
seconds by having some particular routing with Trudy there. After we kill the first ship and restart checkpoint, it starts to play the next set of dialogue a little bit faster. And where we restart checkpoint from, we just go straight towards one of the ships and then kind of curve away from it. And I don't know how to describe it, but it basically makes the bombs spawn a little bit faster. And it makes the morts say their dialogue a little bit faster too. So I think it saves about 6 seconds.
Yeah.
It was randomly discovered, and we
say
didn't even know it
randomly.
was a thing. And then we sort of sat down for 20 minutes and we're like,
Esse
how is
planeta
this,
aqui
like, how is this person
é-
saving so much time? And then we
A gente
finally
chega
found
agora
out,
com o
like,
Ratchet
oh, okay, this
na
is pretty
cutscene.
cool.
Ou não sei se é o planeta que a River está indo ainda, mas é
Yeah,
bem
that,
bonito.
when we're
Ele
done with that run
quebrado meio que
sequence,
pela
we get to go
metade e tudo
to
mais.
Ratchet's part of this fourth section of the game, which is Ardolus.
Yeah, and Mobius did a really good wrench
wow.
boost there. He actually made, he
That's
unfortunately fell
tragic,
down, but that was actually really cool. You can get that wrench boost and make it all the way to the door that Mobius is going to. It's
there's a-
kind of difficult, but it's really cool.
A lot of stuff to avoid there. And then this skip right here is also incredible.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
you'll
I'm
be
gonna
seeing
hope-
Mobius.
Na hora que as sessões do Ratchet tem a botinha, né? Então ele
So
consegue
I
sair
gotta
voando
learn
igual um
that,
maluco,
hands
pegando
out.
nos
So pretty much
bolsos.
what he's trying to do is he's trying to hit a wrench boost, and there's a couple spots you can do this, and right there he just got
Conseguiu
it.
de novo,
Yeah,
conseguiu.
Yeah, and so then you're gonna run into that sort of mountain, and he's gonna go all the way over to this sort of random hole in this rock, and then he's gonna get the checkpoint for the next
Parece ser muito
section.
gostosinho jogar esse
Yeah,
game,
so
sim, parece.
that skips a huge combat section. I did that really smoothly
Yeah, that
once
was-
I got
that
the
was
second
very
range.
Sabe o que não parece
And you
gostosinho
can
de jogar?
either,
Returnal,
ride
que vai
that
vir
sort of
depois
mountain all the way up to
do
the top
Final
and
Fantasy.
then
Vocês vão ver.
Loop back around into that same
O
checkpoint.
jogo
or
é
you
pura
can
RNG, tipo assim.
just go straight
Yeah.
to that.
My-
As boss
my
fights,
method
beleza,
there
não é
saves about
RNG,
3
mas
to
até
4
você
seconds,
chegar na
but
boss
going
fight,
around the mountain
o
is
jogo é
really
roguelike.
easy to do.
Yeah.
It also looks a
E o
little bit
It's good to
Runner,
mention
eu tenho
right
quase
now that
certeza que ele
if
vai ter
no
que fazer a
one
run
can hear any
inteira
of, like, the game
deathless.
sound,
Ele
that
pode
that is on
conseguir ainda se ele
purpose.
morrer, porque ele é bom,
Yeah.
mas
So the
tipo,
trick that Mobius just did is called
vai ser louco,
muting.
né?
So he waited for Pierre to say a specific line, and then he
Vocês devem
paused the
imaginar que
game.
deathless num jogo
He opened the
roguelike
random button,
não é uma coisa muito
opened
fácil de
the
fazer.
create mode menu, and then he exited out of all the menus, and it pretty much is
Yeah.
making it so Pierre will not finish talking by the time he finishes turning the crank, the bolt crank, which means that the next checkpoint will activate immediately.
He dodged it. He dodged it. There we go. Sorry, I have to show this off. Hey, buddy.
Oh yes,
Ele salvou, ele descongelou o cara e deixou ele cair ali só de
So,
brincadeira mesmo, não precisava
It's part
fazer.
of the mission.
yeah, we have to free him. You know, you can't just let him hang
Yeah.
there.
Did I get the checkpoint there? I think I
Yeah,
did.
you got it. Yeah, I saw it. You should
That
be
one's
good.
fairly.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, normally you
just
have to
gonna do some
land.
Caraca,
Ares
parece muito
platforming,
específica a
Crash
movimentação
Bandicoot
nessa
type
água,
thing.
meu Deus do céu.
Yeah, normally you kind of just want to YOLO this if you kind of mess it up.
Now, for the next section, most of you may remember casually the green pirate saying a lot of dialogue. in the,
Returnal é aquele
champion
jogo
section,
estilo Dead
and we are actually
Cells.
going
Não, é
to,
bem diferente.
do a more
Returnal
advanced
é...
version of a mute
É que o Dead
and
Cells é roguelike
basically
também,
just
mas
instantly skip
tipo...
over all of
Roguelike é todo jogo que quando você morre volta, né, digamos
Yeah,
assim.
this one is utilizing a
O
spy
mapa
map.
muda, as coisas que você tinha você perde, aí você tem que
And
pegar de
so
novo,
when
mas
green
as coisas não
powers
estão no
normally
mesmo
supposed to
lugar, né?
talk,
Sempre
green
muda
power
o
will
mapa
say
depois que
nothing,
você
and it'll just kind
retorna.
of skip the lines.
O
which is
Return
really
ele é um
cool.
jogo novo também, de PS5,
And
que
so when you
lançou ano
see
passado.
Mobius, so normally in this section, when you start this, the game gives you the combustor, which if
E
you
o
remember what the
gameplay
combustor
não
was
sei
in
um jogo
Ratchet
pra
Clank
poder te falar, pra te
2016
comparar.
on the
Você vai ver.
PS4, and that was a main weapon
Daqui
that
a
you
fazer
get
o
pretty much right at
puzzle
the
se você
start, and
pode
they made sure to kind
passar
of
por cima
cameo
dela.
it, and so they
Exatamente,
give
mano.
it
Por
to you
quê?
for this section. But then after you do this section, the game takes it away. But Mobius had
Mas
discovered
você tá
that
fazendo
there's
puzzle
a
ainda,
couple
né?
weird stuff you can do, and the game will let you keep the combustor, and you can upgrade it, which is the funniest thing.
And upgrading it loses time because it shoots 3 projectiles, which makes it harder to aim for the pirates.
Yeah. So the combustor did end up making it into Rift Apart. Just we had to do a couple extra steps to actually keep it.
Yeah, so you might have
Mas
saw
apesar
that
disso,
one of the
agora ele
battles
vai
right at the
simplesmente
start of
passar
that
por
section.
cima e entrar nas balls, é isso.
That's so I can get up here, and there's an elevator ride that's like 25 seconds. It is massive and boring that I was trying to skip. Didn't get the checkpoint. Come on. Any day now. There we
Mas
go.
foi a primeira vida que
So,
só teve um Ratchet
that
Clank
one's
no
like the
PS4,
hardest
enquanto teve 3 ou 4 no
checkpoint to get
PS3,
around.
sem
It's
contar
really
os
thin,
lançamentos do
And
PS2.
I'm surprised Mobius got the wrench boost that leads in
É
there.
que assim,
I know that we kind of have a
antigamente o pessoal
lineup where
lançava
we
bem
fly
mais
down to
jogo,
it.
e
So that was
a cada
really
ano
nice
que
that
passa
he was
fica
able to
mais
get to it
difícil,
right
né?
Yeah, I
De
found that
você
range
fazer
boost,
um jogo e
a few
programar. Você
days
pode
ago.
ver que a
That's-
maioria
and
dos
it saves a few
grandes
seconds,
dos
but
jogos
it's
AA,
really,
né, que lançam hoje em
like
dia,
Sim said, it doesn't give you a
demoram
lot.
muitos
Like,
anos pra fazer.
specific
Então,
areas.
se for prosseguindo
You can,
desse
you can
jeito, a
start a
gente vai
run
ver
with
cada
the
vez
checkpoints,
menos
so it's
jogos
always on, so you
das
can actually
franquias
see
durante as
where it is a little
gerações
bit
aí,
better, but it's still really
porque
high up and you have to glide underneath.
é muito custo, né? Muito tempo
Yeah,
pra
I
fazer.
have it on my D-pad, but I'm
Yeah, to say, yeah,
É esse
that's an
mesmo, o
option
Metal
that
Gear,
you
da
could
menina
actually
que
turn
cai
on the
numa
full one.
nave
So before
e
the run
não
even starts,
e...
obviously no one was able to see that, but Mobius had actually
É
turned
esse aí
on
mesmo que você tá pensando.
subtitles, and he didn't turn this on, but normally we turn this on. There's a setting called checkpoints always on, and you can change that to on or off. So normally we have that
Yeah.
on during the run.
I find it really distracting, which is why I don't have it on. But it
Yeah.
does, like, it's a detriment to that.
Yeah, so pretty much that
E é um jogo que
that yellow
finalmente eu vou
icon
poder comentar
will be
sabendo do jogo.
always showing, so it'll never actually go away. And that can be
Eu
useful
cheguei a
in
tentar
some
fazer algumas
skills,
runs,
but
apesar
of
de
course
não
it
ter
can be distracting for
submitado,
some
e eu joguei
people.
bastante o jogo, então
Yeah.
tô animado.
I'm going to take this quick pause to chime in and let everybody know that we did unlock Bonus Game 3 Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate Yuffie%. Congratulations, chat. We have more AGDQ.
That's awesome. Good job. That was a lot of donations in this like little bit of time. Hey.
Congrats on that.
Temos FF7, temos FF7.
Righto.
Terminaram de doar.
Now that we're done with Pirate
Perrel, se
Trials
prepare,
and
pega sua
that
água.
boring section's done, we get to go to
Another
the
boring
ship
section.
And this one's less boring, I think, and this one has like actual things I can do on
Yes,
it.
so
but,
pretty much our duel list is kind of like split up. So the first half of our duel list is from Tools of Destruction, which came out in 2007, I believe. And then the second
Yeah.
half of it is actually new. So with the remake planets, Insomniac tried to make some of them just a little bit different. And so half of our duel list
Yeah.
is actually brand new. And it consists of pretty much like kind of 3 auto-scroller sections. You know, the pirate section, and then there's a ship section, and then there's this part that Mobius is on.
Agora a
right now.
gente
And
vai
we
ter
can't actually,
incentivo
like,
aí pra Dead
speed any of
Rising,
these up at all, so
lutar
we kind
contra
of
o
just have
último
to sit
boss.
through them.
E pro próprio
Yeah,
Returnal,
not
que
the
vem
enemy
depois do
portions,
FF7,
there's
que é um
the second
incentivo
half
pra
is
depois que ele terminar a run,
Yeah.
with a cool
né,
tool.
a run que ele vai
We've
fazer
seen
na
the
categoria
demonstration
Fresh
of that.
File, porque assim, o
But
jogo ele não tem
as
save,
it
ele salva
stands, I
automático.
think it's a good space
Então a única
for
forma de você não
donations,
jogar
also
sem
for
ser no New Game Plus é você
5
começar o
donations
jogo
here. Okay, well,
num
let's see if I
save
can
novo.
any percent these real quick. We have
Então ele vai
a huge
jogar
bomb
a run
from
dele no
the
Fresh
wonderful
File, não um save
Insomniac.
completamente
Thank you.
novo,
Like so
sem,
many coordinated
nenhum,
donations
sem
here,
nunca ter
like
começado o jogo.
$200 from Jerain.
E aí a gente dá um incentivo para ele fazer uma run New Game Plus. E a run New Game Plus, na real, é a categoria principal do jogo. Mas a run New Game Plus é tipo de 4 a 10 minutos, assim, mais ou menos. Depende um pouco de RNG também, porque é roguelike. Um pouco não, muito. Mas eu acho que não passa de 10 minutos, não. Ainda mais o runner, é tipo o melhor runner de Returnal de longe.
Aaron Jason Espinosa specifically with the $100 that says let's get
Então,
it,
assim,
Mobius.
Thank you, Aaron.
eu vou passar a madrugada hoje de
The
novo.
dialogue isn't
Mas vai ser minha
too
última
strange.
madrugada.
But yeah, sometimes this glitches out.
As
It
outras
will play,
madrugadas
so
serão
just wait
com
for
as
it,
outras
and
pessoas da
eventually
staff.
Yeah, It
E
should
aí,
play
LD,
everything.
If you're
Senhor
too far
Cavalca
forward
e
on the
Minduco do
ship,
Reboco.
sometimes it despawns one of the
Yeah.
ships. And
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the ships
normally-
won't despawn if you're kind
Eu
of
falei
far
Senhor
away from
Cavalca,
it,
mas
so
ele
you
não é
kinda
tão
just have
velho
to
não,
wait.
Pet.
Eventually Quantum
Desculpa
will
aí,
say
Cavalca, se
something,
você
and
estiver
then
me
the button
ouvindo.
will come up.
Yeah, there we go. So I was supposed to get the one left now when I was meleeing the enemies earlier. I used the wrench there
New
so
Game
I
Plus
can
é
specifically
assim.
get that dialogue so I don't
É
talk to
também
enemies
porque
at once,
o
but,
New Game Plus do Returnal você já começa tipo no último mapa já. Você literalmente, não é no último mapa, mas
Yeah, we don't get to
você
see
pode ir
Quantum
direto
that
pro
much in
último
this
boss.
run
Tipo,
either. So, Quantum's
você
the
vai correndo, vai
alternate
correndo, vai
dimension
correndo, vai
version
correndo e
of
cai no último
Quark,
boss.
and
Não
we saw
precisa
Skid or Phantom, alternate
fazer mais
dimension
nada.
of Skid
Já
or
tá
Phantom.
liberado tudo. O caminho e tudo
Which is
mais.
kind of cool that this game has that. So this game has variations of the characters from Ratchet's dimension, but they're in Rivet's dimension. So you kind of get to
E o Fresh Fire você é
know some of the
obrigado a
characters in,
matar
like,
os
a
outros
different
boss.
light.
Yeah.
E pegar os upgrades e tudo mais.
Alright, so now we're on to the Plunder Beam section. So casually, you have to defeat a lot of enemies and then take a scripted swing shot sequence up to the Plunder Beam. I should have restarted checkpoint just a tad earlier. That's okay.
Oficial,
When I defeat all these
exatamente,
enemies, I'll
Daniel.
get a pop-up that says
Daniel.
disable the Plunder Beam. There we go. So when I do this wrench boost and fly up into the air, I can skip that whole swing shot
Estamos
sequence.
alcançando o finalzinho do
Directly
run,
to
acho que
the
mais uns 15 minutinhos, mais uns 15 minutinhos aí.
And then I can just turn the bolt crank after hitting a checkpoint and I will be...
Ele resetou algumas vezes em algumas partes,
Yeah, you'll see
então talvez...
There's a ship
Eu
over
chuto
here to the
1 hora e
left.
26 aí.
That's what I'm supposed to
1 hora e
latch
26,
onto.
1 hora e 27 pra essa run.
Thankfully, the dialogue helps out a lot as like cues for certain things. So Mobius was waiting for that dialogue where Ratchet says, "Now for the Plunder Beam."
Ele tá
So
tentando
he's
fazer
kinda waiting
novamente
for
o
that
boost ali com a
to then
botinha.
turn it, because
Ele
a lot of the
clica
times, if you're kind of trying to
na
do something
rampa do barco.
unintended, and normally it works, sometimes if
Ele
you do it
consegue
too
pular
early, the
direto
game
aí
will
pro
soft
botão
lock,
pra
you kinda
ativar.
have to restart checkpoint or backload.
E pegar o
So
trigger
we have,
também,
like, a
né, na
couple of
próxima
cues for
parte.
some tricks.
Óbvio que ele podia só
Sometimes
subir a
the
escadinha
ship
pra
can
tentar
sort of
pular, né? Mas ele pegou o
not
trigger pra
deload,
spawnar o
but go
próximo
invisible,
barco.
and the textures will deload on it. So you might be stuck with some invisible stairs or something, and you have to run through.
Yeah.
I wonder who that happened to once.
It was tricky.
Mas ele tá só esperando spawnar
Yeah,
a
so now
forma
we're
dele
waiting
ir
for
pro outro
Hellshot to
barco aí,
spawn, so we can go over to
com
this
o Ratchet.
ship where there's two more bosses.
E
These
agora
are
tem mais
time
dois
twins.
boss aí
We
nesse
can
nesse
spam
barco aqui,
Rhino,
na real, acho que você luta contra os dois de uma vez só,
they
que são
should die right as
gêmeos.
the hurl shot spawns,
Ou
so
não,
then we can
vamos
just turn the
ver.
bolt crank right away.
Yeah, and in the any percent categories, if you actually get over to the ship and restart checkpoint, one of the bosses will be down to like 20% health as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
thank
very
you,
weird.
Nautical, for telling us about that.
It's interesting enough to be like, wait, why does that happen?
Well, we do the same thing later on for the heart fight as well.
Yeah, no, it is really interesting, and we only found out the other day what Nautical
Because
said
that's what it
when he
is.
told me, and I'm just like, what? That works there as well? But yeah, we don't need to lower the health of any of the bosses on of the Tide Twins because we have the Rhino. So we go to Xerxes, but we're actually on Savali too. In all those cutscenes, we find out that the Emperor Nefarious has tried to go to the archives and take the dimensional map, and we instead detour to Savali to try and get it before he does.
Yes, this is pretty much another revisit level, just like how we revisited sort of Sargasso in a new light. Now we're visiting Savali again, except this time it's nighttime, and the archives we were in earlier is now destroyed by Emperor Nefarious.
Olha esse gráfico, sim, muito bom.
Okay, cool. Now I can restart check.
E eu também tinha dito um pouco antes, eu achei muito bonita o cenário, tipo, os planetas e até as áreas internas, assim, tipo, é muito bem feito.
Just like Rivet and Kit interrupting Ratchet there.
Yeah, this is a
The
cool
elevator
kind of.
sequence.
Yeah, this is a kind of a cool level because you play as Ratchet and Rivet on the same level. Because a lot of the levels.
Nessa
it's
parte
split
você
you up.
joga um pouco com
So you're either playing as only
Ratchet e um pouco
Ratchet
com a
or only
Rivet.
Rivet. But this one you actually play as both of them during it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you alternate back and forth, which is nice, and we'll also see that
On the last
on
level.
the final section.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is pretty much just an elevator section. So we're inside of the Nefarious flagship, and we're trying to find where Gary is at because he was captured. And so pretty much we're going to be riding up 3 elevators and just spamming the Rhino to kill all of the enemies.
There is a couple of soft locks we have to look out here for as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like it
Yeah,
should
the
be.
first.
I feel like it should be funny.
Essa
to
é uma
mention
retransmissão
this
oficial,
elevator up
Vanderlei.
here. I don't know
Seja bem-vindo.
how I found this, but on this specific elevator, if you stand towards like the back of it, it rises faster, which is actually really funny.
I didn't. Wait, did I know that? I think I knew that and then just forgot it.
It was mentioned
It doesn't
a
matter
long
because
time ago, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because the dialogue syncs anyway, like pretty concisely, like where the end of the elevator is. That's all good.
Tem uma luta aí contra um outro mini-boss.
Yeah, so this
Que ele
one
já
does
vai
feel
deixar
like this is one of
umas
the ones where
armadilhas aí já pra quando o boss
last
nascer.
HP,
Ele dá
I would
um
say.
bom dano, né? Mas no geral ele vai
Before
ficar
we two
spawnando as
topiaries
armas de
down, and then we
portal e
alternate between
de...
Rhino and Peacemaker. So we want to make sure
Ah,
the enemy
azul.
is constantly in topiary state. You can see it like they're just shrouded in leaves. Unfortunately, one of the topiaries doesn't seem to have initiated, which is okay.
Sometimes the topiary can be a little bit finicky because when you first throw it, unless you're throwing it directly at the enemy, sometimes it'll kind of start shooting in a different direction and it just won't hit the enemy because it's like trying to find where it's at.
I believe
Yeah.
that sort of fence around that platform might block some of the topiary effect too.
Yeah, also the crate in the middle that is initially there. Like when you do one Warmonger shot, it breaks the crate, but I think that also acts as a blocker for the topiary. Here I do a cutscene warp technically. In that little sequence there, I end up like closer to the ridge. You can't really see it because it happens before the camera pans down, but I end up just perfectly at the ridge section there, and I have to just activate 3 pressure plates, so I use a wrench boost to get across the plateau quicker. I'll be doing another one here where I didn't get much speed out of that, that's fine. I will try and back it up like that, and fail.
The last platform isn't actually active for a little bit, so you can get there really early and then it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, there's like dialogue, that kit dialogue there is what activates it, so
Yeah,
it's
we're gonna,
not a big loss at all.
yeah, we're gonna be going into so underneath the Badlands Temple, which we saw towards the start of the run.
Essa é a única parte do jogo, né? Que você joga um pouquinho com um e um pouco com o outro. Você, geralmente a maior parte do jogo é bem separada, né? As telas do Ratchet e do Rivet. E agora... Não, agora...
Yeah, I'm gonna try it once. I'll try it once.
Yeah, so
So
you can
this catacomb skip is very precise and finicky. Well, that's just how I've sort of found it. There are ways to mitigate it with the introduction of interrupted wrench boosts. It's become a lot easier, but... Ooh, so I didn't get much speed out of that, that's fine.
Yeah, you should get a checkpoint.
Yeah, luckily
Yeah, I'm
if you
just
do
gonna-
fail,
Essa motinha
you
de
don't really
abelha é
get
maravilhosa, né?
far at all. It just kind of puts you at wherever the game would assume you would be
Ele
at.
vai pegar
So
ainda,
yeah,
porque
you
eu
already got a
vi
checkpoint
vocês.
there, and he spawned now just in the normal section.
Yeah, so that's just sort of a consolation prize, you get half of it.
Yeah, so Mobius here will
you're
be
already-
trying to run into a little rock with the Speedle, and he's gonna like sort of get a little jump up to the end of this area.
Oh, I got a black screen in that. That's not good. Okay. I thought I got quick select bug there. That would have been,
If you
that
enter,
would've been tragic.
if you enter that room too,
Daí
fast,
que vem
you
no
can
futuro.
quick select button.
Rift à parte, né? Fiz um portal
Boss
aqui do
here,
futuro e
Undead
tô
Red
vendo.
Thor, he's gonna die pretty fast as well.
Yep, there we go.
Essa luta
Also,
é
Clank says some
super
questionable
rápida também
things.
contra esse mini-boss, meu
Yeah,
Deus.
very
Very
questionable
nice.
things on this good GDQ stream here. But yeah, that is the end of Savali 2. Well, we have a Clank section here, but we will be skipping it.
Yep. And Ratchet and Kit and Clank are gonna all be kidnapped, and we're gonna be playing as Rivet in the next level.
Skip puzzle. Você pode
Yeah,
simplesmente
and we're gonna
apertar
go
Start
and meet all of our
e entrar em
friends.
Skip Puzzle. E aí você pula o
So
puzzle
we'll
e
get
bora.
an unskippable cutscene
Clap, clap.
with Rivet being sad
que é um skip de
that one
verdade.
of her friends just got kidnapped. And she's like,
Yeah.
well, I know where they're gonna be at, and so she's gonna be heading to Visceron, which is another planet. from
Isso deve ser coisa da
Destruction, where they
dificuldade
kind
do
of
jogo, cara.
remade
Deixa
part
uma
of it,
olhada
and then
na
another part of
categoria
it
do
is brand new.
speedrun aqui, porque não é possível.
Yeah, a lot of Visceron in this game is very different to the original Visceron. So I find the movement at the very start of this planet very satisfying. I'm going to do a wrench boost off that section there, and then I'm going to dash through that.
Tá, não sei se tem dificuldade, mas caraca, que estranho o jogo poder você esquipar o puzzle apertando start.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a ledge grab there. That's cool.
Nice.
É o skip do skip.
Well, actually, there's a lot that I don't do, but we won't mention those.
Sweet. That was pretty smooth for a start of this run.
Definitely.
Yeah, and something scary about the beginning of Visceron there, when Mobius did that gaming computer skip, is that he was trying to hit a checkpoint near, when he jumped on kind of the roof of that area, there was actually a checkpoint that he wanted to make sure he hit, because Clank actually won't spawn in that, like, jail cell he's in if you miss it, which is really unfortunate if it
Cara, o
happens.
boost dessa botinha, oh, meu Deus, muito bom de ver.
This is not Big Yugi jump.
Tem pessoas que possuem dificuldades em puzzles. Não, eu sei, João, mas assim, geralmente quando o jogo tem alguma opção de você pular o puzzle, era uma dificuldade mais fácil do jogo. E eu não sei se esse Ratchet Clank tem essa opção de dificuldade em si, entendeu?
There's like a huge fight that happens, you fight like a couple different waves of enemies. But thankfully, like what Mobius just said, you can kind of go backwards through it and then get the checkpoint at the door and then just go back again, and it kind of skips the fight.
Good spot for a donation here since it's just a really rudimentary combat section right now.
Alrighty, let's continue with the very coordinated donation assault from the Insomniac devs, starting with Josh Lehman for $50, who said, "Hello, GDQ, as the mission designer for Sargasso. Have fun breaking my work as hard as you can for charity."
Sweet.
25 here from Matt Foster, who said, "Games, like rules, are made to be broken. Thank you to all of our fans for playing our work. We love you as much as we hate frames." 50 here from Christopher Schultz, who said, "It's lovely to see the ingenuity that speedrunners deconstruct our designs with. Thank you for inspiring me year over year through your charity work and clever gameplay. This GDQ is particularly meaningful for me as my grandmother passed away from cancer a couple weeks ago. So this donation goes out for my Oma."
Oh, really appreciate all the devs that like.
Será que deve ser? Ah, verdade,
tell
pode
us
ser
how
algo
much
do
they
New Game
appreciate
Plus.
us. Like we love all your games, Insomniac, and obviously we'd be happy to see any other Ratchet
Novamente fazendo aí o skip do pulinho, photo mode, mapa, pulinho, photo mode, mapa. E aí ele consegue alcançar os portais para puxar.
He had to do a couple infinite jumps to get over here, but
Those were a
he
little
made it work.
risky.
He improvised. Yeah, he's being risky. I think it's good to mention that for some reason on Visceron, if you do an infinite jump over any of the water that's on Visceron, your game actually has a chance to like crash, and it's kind of unfortunate. But luckily Mobius was fine. Risking it all.
Hey, you know, you gotta risk it for the friends.
Yeah, it's very rare to happen, but knowing it can happen, we make sure to be safe during that.
Já atrasou a run do FF em 1 minuto.
Yeah, that happens.
É que teve uns probleminhas na run do Ratchet Clank again.
Sadly, what Mobius did try to do there was.
O runner tava com probleminha de internet no começo da run e aí teve que parar pra voltar depois.
Some of the objects that spawn when you're firing.
Mas é normal, acontece isso em todo evento. As estimativas são estimativas por um motivo, né? Não é todo mundo que consegue fazer o tempo, né? E às vezes acontece. Não existe um evento de speedrun no mundo que fica no horário o evento inteiro. E tanto os viewers quanto os runners sabem disso, né? Assim, tipo, tem que ficar atento a isso, eu digo.
Yeah. I mean, there's one you can do at the end of
Não, sim,
Chameleon.
mas tô
There's one you can
explicando, né? De
technically
repente
do
alguém
where I jumped
não
back through the
conhece.
facility earlier on Visceron. That one, I guess, technically saves time, but not that much. And there's another one that I'm missing off the top of my head, but like, the idea of clipping in this game is better than actually clipping. There's not actually that much that you can sort of do to advance the game further by clipping, because usually when you're at a door, you're waiting for dialogue, not a specific checkpoint.
Tava guardando o FF, mas adorei ver Ratchet.
And then jumping up into the trigger.
Também.
So we didn't have to get the automatic slowdown there.
Você acha que ele faz 1h27
That,
ainda?
that
Acho.
one's genius, actually.
If only that was consistent, because sometimes you can get pushed through the floor and just die as well, so it can be kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the escape section, so pretty much
Whoa.
you can wrench boost and kind of fly through this part. It's really cool.
Yeah, you can sometimes conserve momentum onto that rail there if your jump spacing is really good, but Whoa.
Ele tá usando
That
o
was a
boost
lot
meio out
going
of
on.
bounds ali agora.
Oh, he's getting
uns
thrown around right
soquinhos.
now.
Yeah,
The
I
game's
got a little bounce there.
The game's
It's a
bullying.
That was not something I wanted.
Agora, né, na real. Aí. E aí ele consegue manter o boost, porque tipo, o jogo acha que ele tá fora ainda ali, né?
No?
E ele consegue subir a rampinha por fora.
I believe my bench boosts are broken.
Yeah, sometimes that happens with the hover boots for some reason on that specific part,
Yeah.
where they just kind of work kind of weird.
That's alright. So this combat section here, we are shooting rhinos in specific positions to defeat a lot of enemies. So there's a dropship here that has 2 sets of enemies in them. We shoot 2 rhino shots. We shoot rhino shot there to defeat those 2 enemies. Here we have a little bit of a breather while we wait for sniper bots that come in from the side of the stage. I throw a topiary down here, and whenever that topiary
Ele já tá bem no
something,
finalzinho do
I get
jogo.
the all good to like shoot at the right time.
Mas é, talvez não vai terminar
So,
em
that's really strange.
1h27, né?
It's okay.
Já tá com quase 1h25
2
aí,
more
né?
dropships
Vamos ver.
here, and then there's enemies that will be flying into the center of the stage right now. And then there are 2 mini bosses with the highest HP in the game. 2 dropships here. So I throw down 2 topiaries, and hopefully they get topiary at the right position, and my rhino radius is good enough to do the damage that I need.
And these enemies can move like really far away sometimes too, which makes
Yeah.
this fight interesting.
Yeah, that was like average.
Agora ele vai para a última parte do jogo, né? O último level.
Righto.
Yeah, so unfortunately the game's almost over. There's only 1 level left after this, and it is a return
Yeah.
back to Megalopolis.
Yeah, the very first planet in the game, Emperor Nefarious decides to take his
Mas
army
não, ele
into
vai passar
another
de
dimension
1h27.
and
Mas tudo bem, o
with
estimate
its
tá em
resources.
1h35 também.
I think it's a good point for just any last donations, 1 or 2 donations.
2 more donations coming right up, starting with Insomniac Dev. Daniel M. with $100 that says, "Great run for a great cause. Keep the donations coming and kick cancer's nuts and bolts." Should have read
Thank you
that
so
one in
much.
advance. $100 here from Insomniac Dev Jen that says, "Lots of love from the team."
Thank you. Love you guys too. So this first section here on Megalopolis is
Ó, o
just another
WR.
combat section. We have to destroy 4 snipers and then a bunch of enemies that spawn. There's just waves that spawn from the center here.
O
We don't need to
WR
kill them too quickly, but we
é
need to kill a certain amount.
1h19h41.
This Juggernaut here is our final mini boss that we need to defeat, and luckily we make quick work of him using the Cold Front and Warmonger.
Yeah, and something cool about this level as well is you can kind of see behind the Juggernaut there's the like a tower that looks very similar to the one on Nefarious City. So the game kind of like hints and alludes that in Rivet's dimension that Nefarious City is actually Megalopolis, and that
Yeah, if you go into the menu, it also says it's Corson 5.
yeah, so it's kind of like a
But-
really cool twist as like, you know, he's coming over to our dimension and you realize that Nefarious City and
Yeah.
Megalopolis are like the same place, just that Nefarious had
Yeah.
taken it over.
I think you can skip, like, there's like a 0.3 second cutscene there you can skip that saves 0 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah, but this is the final boss. It's split up into, I believe, what is it, 4 phases or is it 3?
It's, yeah, technically 4 phases.
E atualizaram a
This
agenda do
singular hand,
FF para
maybe get maybe
9h57.
that's okay.
You can,
Yes,
yeah,
but
and then
so-
you 2 cycles.
Então vai
a
ter um bom
second.
tempinho de setup aí.
You can, but usually it's 3.
Yeah, and this is another section where we kind of switch between Ratchet and Rivet constantly throughout this fight because they're both kind of in different spots, and Nefarious is kind of like multitasking and trying to fight us both.
Yeah. Alright.
But this time, of course, we're fighting the Emperor, not the Nefarious from our dimension.
Yeah. So we've taken down the head, and now we can... Well, I don't like it on the left.
E a minha gata estava pedindo comida num momento
Very hard to get
desses.
a cold front up on the
Eu
left
falei
side,
que ela
not close enough, and I don't want to risk
me
falling.
pedir. Não tem uma live, um comentário, uma run que eu esteja fazendo que eu não seja impedido.
So yeah, that's the
Pra ter
mech
que colocar
done.
comida pra
The mech is
cá.
going to teleport us to a bunch of dimensional debris.
Mas eu vou esperar que não está acabando
City.
isso.
Yes, there's gonna be a little.
Esse boss é bem
platform
interessante o
section.
design
There's a
dele
couple ways
também.
you
Ele é
can
meio
do this, but
malucão,
normally
assim,
you have to wait
mas
for
sei
the
lá.
Nefarious to destroy the debris, and then a
Boa
rift is
noite,
gonna
Jabiru.
spawn that Mobius can tether over to. But you can actually do like a couple different things that allow you just to skip that. And you saw Mobius got that right there, where he just kind of
Yeah.
did a wrench swing and jumped over past it.
So we're going to restart as soon as we get into the heart, and we're just going to spam the Rhino and Warmonger. I keep getting black screens.
Thankfully, the run's
Dang.
almost over, but
Mega 2
Yeah.
is pretty dangerous.
yeah, that was the issue we were mentioning previous as to why Mobius reset. It's because sometimes the loading or the checkpoints can get kind of messed up.
And those
Yeah.
those can go for like minutes at a time sometimes too.
Yeah, if you get it really bad, it can really screw up your run. Luckily here, it was just on the last 2 planets where I got it.
Mas é isso, ele vai ficar enfrentando
Yeah, so this is the
umas
end of the
hordinhas
run.
de
So
inimigo
pretty
que vai
much,
ficar spawnando aí.
Mobius is just going to be attacking
Até
up the
acabar.
Nefarious, and he's going to send a couple waves of enemies out to defeat us. And of course, we're just going to kind of
Você chegou agora e é louco pra jogar esse jogo. Eu gostei bastante
Most
também,
important
nossa,
wave
achei
of
muito
enemies
bem
is at the
feito.
very end.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
at the
Você chegou no
very
final,
end,
mas você
there's
pode
a-
ver
there's
depois
a
a
group of
gravação,
fish,
sabe?
and I'm not sure
Nos
who
VODs,
should,
né?
who should we let decide if we kill the fish or not?
You already know my
Same.
Tá
answer.
guardado aqui, né?
Notorious fish killer, nautical turtle.
E no YouTube também, acho que
Yeah,
depois
we'll
a
see
gente
the
posta
fish.
lá.
You are a turtle.
And of course, good to mention that this run will end once Rivet jumps into Kit's hand is when time will stop.
Yeah, so we're just about up on time, about 15 seconds from now. So you don't need to defeat this Juggernaut, by the
E
way.
esse é o
We'll see the fish.
última
I see
parte
him
que ele tem que
back there. Oh,
enfrentar.
there they are.
Assim que ele conseguir, vai acabar o jogo.
Gonna defeat them with the combustor.
What?
So time in 3, 2, 1, time.
Foi!
And there we
GG.
go.
Terminou ainda em 1h30, aí,
That
1h30
is
e
Ratchet
43
and Clank Rift
segundos.
Apart NG+. So throughout all the
5 minutos ainda antes do
technical
estimate.
and all
Isso
that,
que
I'm glad he was able to
ele
finish the run, and you know,
Yeah.
I think we did a pretty good job, huh?
errou algumas
Yeah, luckily
coisinhas,
there
resetou,
wasn't
teve
that many
probleminha, mas foi
issues.
muito
That was a
bom
big
mesmo assim.
GG. I'm not sure what the final time
Mobius
actually
mandou
was,
muito aí, né, Ray?
but it was probably very good.
Yeah. No, I think that was good.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
sweet.
That's actually still really
That
good.
is, yeah, very good.
Tá rolando
Well
aí a
under
cutscene
us,
de
so
final do
I'm
jogo.
happy about that. Sweet.
Pô, já vai,
I guess
eu
if
vou
I
tirar
had,
comida, peraí.
like, in terms of shoutouts, just the whole Ratchet and Clank speedrunning community. I mean, it was really magical these first few days when it came out last year. Like, we had 20 people or so just constantly on the grind, making the speed game as good as it can be. And I'm really grateful for all of that. And like special shoutouts to B-Dot, of course, Everyday Aussie, Optimal, the Rat Jones, and Mark, our resident Hundo router. Very special thanks to him.
You two really are a couple of
Yeah, definitely thanks to all those people. We have a couple people that kind of just strat hunt and look for things. And they make a huge
O
contribution
inimigo ali, ó,
to
que ele matou, tá na
finding skips.
cutscene.
Also, that Juggernaut's still there. Did
Yeah,
you notice
he's
that?
still-
Parece que ele
Just
tampou
hanging
na
out.
tela inteira ainda. Viu?
He's with us now, you know.
He's a part of the crew.
He switched
He's
sides.
coming back. He's coming back for a sequel.
Yeah, dude. Ratchet and Juggernaut. Yeah, do you two have anything to like shout out?
I guess thanks to GDQ for having Rift Apart. It was a really nice opportunity to be able to be a part of it as a commentator.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
and
really.
massive thanks to the devs as well, especially for keeping in touch with us on
Legal.
some of the changes, like wrench boosting. That
Os runners falaram agora que os devs entraram em contato com a
I'm
comunidade de
grateful for
speedrun, na
what the
real.
devs have done for this game and
É,
how
Claro
it's
que eles
supported
foram
us.
fazer
So,
patch do jogo e eles
Yeah,
mantiveram alguns glitches, tipo, por
if you wanna
exemplo,
speedrun this
o
game, you can go
boost
to speedrun.com/rack_RA.
da botinha lá que eles ficam
and
usando.
You'll just find a bunch of runs and
Sim, eles doaram também. Eu comentei um pouco mais cedo. Mas ele falou do patch, tipo, os caras mantiveram o patch. O glitch. E isso é muito interessante, porque, tipo, run de console, ou você joga no último patch ou no primeiro, né? É muito difícil de você conseguir manter o jogo num patch intermediário. E isso que você tem que ter a mídia física ainda, né? Pra poder jogar no primeiro patch. O jogo que é exclusivo de console, assim, a galera sofre muito com patch de glitch, né? Mas é isso, galera. Valeu aí pelo chat, calca. Eu ainda vou voltar mais algumas vezes, mas tá meu canal humilde. E fiquem com o Ferrell, que deve entrar daqui a pouquinho. Ferrell Wenger. Ou é Wenger? É Wenger ou Wenger? Eu chamo de Ferrell. Ele, como eu disse, ele é runner de muitos RPGs, inclusive do Final Fantasy VII Remake, inclusive do Intermission. E é o próximo jogo que vai rolar agora. Então é isso. Eu volto pra comentar o Returnal com vocês aí. E falou, galera. Valeu por ter acompanhado até agora. Tchau, tchau.
We've got $15 from Megan Clark. We've got 25